A very good morning, everybody, wherever you are around the world, either here at the track on 90.7 FM, listening in on Sirius 206, or of course on RS2, part of the Radio Show Limited network of channels. We've got something a little bit different for you this Sunday. The IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship back at CTMP, Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, but with a slightly different look. The Chevrolet Grand Prix this afternoon will be a competition for 3 different classes of cars. There's nothing new in that, and GTD PRO and GTD, of course, we've seen plenty of times in the past. But LMP2 are back here for the first time in a wee while, and they're the top class, and there's a dozen of them at the front of the field. Leading them round will be AO Racing's PJ Hyatt in the fan favourite Spike the Dragon, with United Autosport's 22 and Daniel Goldberg alongside him. In GTD Pro, the first pole position in IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship competition for Alexander Sims has a bit of a hometown feel about it as well. There's so much history here with Corvette Racing. Of course, Ron Fellows just breaking the street car lap record last week, in fact, in a new Corvette. And what a circuit this is. 2.5 miles around, 10 corners. It has a little bit of everything. The run down to turn 1 where it's flat out for the LMP2s, and then over the top of the rise down through Clayton Corner at turn 2, climbing through Quebec Corner at turn 3, and then down and back up to Moss Corner, turns 5 and 6. Then the long drag along Mario Andretti Straight. It's not straight and it's not flat, and it leads into the awesome turn 8 where we have seen some very brave souls making outside overtaking passes. Then through the S's and back to White's Corner, and as quick as that, they're back on with us at the start-finish line. And here with me in the Ford Performance Global Broadcast Centre, it is Jeremy Shaw. Hello, Jeremy. Looking forward to this one immensely.
Yes, indeed. I mean, the weather is perfect, the crowd is strong, the field is extremely strong, and I'm excited about this tremendous effort that was by Alexander Sims yesterday. We thought Jack Hawksworth's lap was pretty darn impressive, which indeed it was, but Alexander Sims found another couple of tenths of a second. You know, he doesn't often qualify in the races. This is his 40th start. He's only qualified 13 times in the past, so he doesn't get the opportunity to qualify that often. So, you know, the fact his first pole position isn't that surprising, perhaps. He has, though, had 4 fastest race laps during his career, including being the lap record holder here at GTP set last year. But look, I'm excited about this race, John. I think the GT field is super strong, as always. The LMPs, it's wide open, as always.
Track limits could also be an issue here as well. Let's take a look at our Porsche keys to the race. Patience being a virtue, penalties, track limits, traffic as well, with the cars going just in the different classes here. Might be less traffic. And of course the tyres. We saw really good longevity from the tyres in what's going on in the early part of the weekend. And I think that's been a pleasant surprise to the teams here on what's been a very hot weekend, and the track temperature back up to 30 Celsius, 86 Fahrenheit. Getting the cars to line up. 2 hours and 40 minutes on the track, on the clock, excuse me. Hello to everyone at the circuit on 90.7 FM, and particularly to Turbo Lag, who hopefully is in the track now, but's been listening to us on IMSA radio. Stand by for action as we're ready to go racing. Canadian Tire Motorsport Park and the Chevrolet Grand Prix for 2024. Bit of a gap between the two different sets of cars, but only one safety car and only one green flag, which is in the air and waving now, and we are racing at CTMP. Straight into the lead for the pole sitter PJ Hyatt in the AO Racing Spike car. It's all kinds of messy coming into turn one though for the GTD cars, and Jack Hawksworth was defending mightily there as Frankie Monkey Calvo was trying to go down the inside of his teammate. They've been told not to drive into each other. I think they've just about managed that. So it's Corvette from the Lexus RCF, and a spin for Sheena Monk at the start of the race for Gradient Racing. She started in 9th position in GTD, and there will be an early drive-through penalty for Ben Keating in the number 2 United car, changing tyres on the grid. That'll be a drive-through. Now, he needs to get that done straight away, because if Sheena can't get going here, might catch a full course yellow. No, she's pointing in the right direction. Well, it was almost a nice clean start, Jeremy. Sheena was tagged by the Proton Mustang there as she was going through turn 3.
Yeah, I think so. Gianmarco Leverato just got into the right rear corner of Sheena and turned around at the apex. She was leaving a little bit of a gap to the car in front of her, being a little bit conservative, that's her prerogative, and there might well be a penalty coming for Leverato there, but she's got the car back underway again, and slightly messy start, as you say. Jack Hawksworth he thought about trying to go around the outside, I think, of Alexander Sims at the first corner, and that kind of opened the door a little bit, but it's tricky here because, you know, the road starts to curve to the right pretty soon after the start-finish line, and according to IMSA rules, you're not allowed to change lanes until after you've crossed that line, so it's kind of tricky there, but I think we got away with it.
So in the GT Pro ranks, it is Corvette from Lexus, and then Paul Miller Racing sitting in behind the second Corvette there. So Corvette, Lexus, Corvette, BMW, and the McLaren of Marvin Kerschoffer for Pfaff Motorsports is next up. And having a look to turn 8, the outside move. I said it was a brave one if you could do it in our Michelin Countdown to Green and at the start of our broadcast, and it was brave and it's been done. Fabulous stuff from Jack Hawksworth, from Tommy Milner on Jack Hawksworth, and it's a Corvette 1-2 at the end of the second lap, Jeremy.
Yeah, indeed, that was a really nice move, wasn't it? Very committed there, fully committed, and he makes that pass now. Chevrolet, I mean, they've been looking strong right from the start of the weekend. The very first practice session, they were 1 and 2 comfortably ahead of everybody else, and it looked for a while yesterday in qualifying as though they might be just eclipsed by Jack Hawksworth in qualifying, but no, Alexander Sims got his head down and took the pole position, and now it's looking really, really strong for Chevy Corvette. 1-2 in the very early stages, with Alexander Sims already a couple of seconds clear of his teammate.
Shea Adam down in the pit lane is our CrowdStrike pit reporter. Sheena Monk's got a bit of catch-up to do, but I suppose there was 1 or 2 of the teams were getting ready just in case there was an early yellow, but not a bad start, Shay.
No, very clean start, and very impressive also from Tommy Milner. I talked to him briefly on the grid. He's got his wife Lauren here, both of his kids cheering him on this weekend. It's been since 2013 that Tommy Milner last won at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, but the last time he raced here was in 2018, because when we came north of the border in 2019, Tommy had a broken wrist. He was unable to participate in that race. So Tommy right now shaking off the cobwebs pretty darn well, I'd say.
Shea Adam down in the pit lane for us today at IMSA Radio. If you would like to give us a shout. Incident responsibility for the 66 getting turned around. That was the Sheena Monk car, and that will be that number 55 Ford Mustang. I think we could all see that one coming. So Gianmarco Leverato in the light blue Ford just leaving the pit lane now, and I think we've also already had Ben Keating through the pit lane as well. Yes, we have. So if you're following on live timing and scoring, those are drive-throughs. It will show us one pit stop in the far right column, but there were drive-through. At the front of the field, it is Spike the Dragon that leads out for PJ Hyatt and AO Racing to the tune of 3.5 seconds, Jeremy. PJ's lit up those Michelins and is heading for the hills.
He has gone, hasn't he? Absolutely checked out. 3.5 seconds, as you say. 1 minute 10.4 each his last 2 laps. I mean, last time around he was almost a second clear of Dan Goldberg, and no one else yet is in the 10s in LMP2, and he's done a couple of 10.4s. So yeah, he's checking out right now. That battle for second place, though, still pretty intense. Dan Goldberg holding on ahead of Nick Boole, who was a little bit disappointed yesterday after qualifying. It was a messy session, a couple of red flags, and nobody really got, I think, to show their, or very few drivers got to show their ultimate potential. He feels he was one of them, but he's putting Dan Goldberg under pressure now for second position as they head up toward turn 8.
We started with 2 hours and 40 minutes on the clock. We've had just on 5 minutes the battle beginning to heat up for second place. Dan Goldberg in the black, white, red United USA car, the 22, crosses the line with the green and yellow of Nick Boole and Europol into Europol by PR1 Matheson. Already Sheena Monk has got a lap down to the leader courtesy of that tip around, but she is much more important for her to stay on the lead lap in GTD, currently led by Spencer Pumpelly for Heart of Racing team from Frank Montecalvo in second place for Vasser Sullivan, and Nick Grenier's just set the fastest lap of the GTD race with a 1:17.0. So we'll keep an eye on that with our VP Racing updates throughout the competition here this afternoon. And wherever you are watching and listening, thank you very much for spending some of your Sunday with us. Perfect conditions for lazing around at the side of a motor racing track and watching and listening to a bit of motor racing, smelling a bit of motor racing. That's the one thing I miss here in the Ford Performance Global Broadcast Centre. You don't get to smell the distinctive odours of a racetrack, burning rubber and sometimes other things as well, which gives you the hint if you smell someone who's maybe burning a little bit too much oil. So fastest lap of the race, PJ Hyatt for AO Racing, a 1:10.403. Jeremy, how does that stack up against race lap records?
Well, we don't really have one since 2019 was the last time LMP2 cars were here. The fastest lap then was 1:08.197 for Matt McMurray, so it goes back quite a long way. I think we may possibly see that beaten later on in the race once the pros get behind the wheel of these LMP2 cars. But then, of course, the track, we'll see what sort of shape the track is going to be in at that stage. I mean, it's still mid-morning here, so relatively early start to the day. It's not going to get too hot until toward the end of the race, so we shall see. Good lap so early on by PJ Hyatt, and already now 4 seconds clear of Dan Goldberg in second position.
What a talent he has turned out to be. One can only speculate what he would have been like had he started racing a little bit earlier. The start under review for changing lanes at the beginning, and wow, there was a very, very close
race
for
leader.
The leader. Yeah, race leader. False start, changing lanes, a drive-through for PJ Hyatt, and there'll also be a drive-through for the number 55 car as well, which has to come in the pit lane. Meantime, Dennis Anderson has brought in an advertising sign. Sure, Adam.
He's brought in both sides of the WeatherTech sign. They've sent him back out. There is quite serious nose damage to this car. I'm surprised they didn't address that. The headlight is pushed well back in. I would have thrown a new nose cone on that car, to be perfectly honest. Maybe they don't have one after Dennis Anderson had a crash in qualifying yesterday, though. That would be my only thought. He's already back out on the track.
So a couple of cars getting... Oh my goodness me. It was nearly a much bigger incident for Dennis Anderson, Jeremy, than actually the rear bodyworks come loose on that as well. Who was the other car involved in that? But I suspect it will be looked at. By the way, there was a warning as well for another car, Harry Tinknell for Ford Multimatic in the Mustang for changing lanes. He only got a warning for that, for changing lanes at the start. It was a little bit untidy. We said that as they came to the green flag, but 2 cars have taken the penalty already.
They have, and I think that was the era Motorsport car of Stuart Wiltshire that just edged, I'm sure unwittingly, probably you never saw him in his mirrors, I'm sure, looking down the outside line. That's not really if you're going to make a pass, the outside line to turn 8 isn't a recommended way to do it, most likely. So yeah, that was a lucky escape for Dennis Anderson. But yeah, Stuart Wiltshire making his debut this weekend. A lot of historic racing under his belt, but he hasn't driven anything since the end of last year. He did the HSR race at Daytona, some success there, but he's been busy with his business commitments since then. And I spoke to him last night, and he was feeling a bit rusty. A particular fact is his first time here at Canadian Motorsport Park, which is a track that requires full commitment from the driver. So there's a bit of a steep learning curve for Stuart Wiltshire, but showing certainly respectable pace in the early stages, and I don't think you can really pin that on him. It was Dennis Anderson put his car in the wrong position, I think, more likely.
Hello to Pavel Kazo and to Karol Melech, all watching and listening, and to Anthony. Jerry C's tuned in, not in his usual setup. He's in Europe at the moment visiting family. Good to know that you've tuned in as well. Nigel Dobby is in Denmark, excuse me, in Valkenburg in the south of Holland as well. Hello all, wherever you are, at IMSA Radio, if you spot something or you've got a question to ask. And don't forget our Michelin post-race tech coming after the race. It will have to be a little shorter than usual because we have the small matter of the final race of the weekend and our Wheel and Mazda MX-5 Cup presented by Michelin Tyres. Porsche keys to the race then: patience, penalties, particularly track limits, but also starts and restarts. The traffic, is there less of it? Well, we're going to get into the bulk of that in a moment or two's time. And the tyres. Well, patience we've seen some of this weekend, Jeremy, but we haven't really got into the meat of this race yet. And when the P2s hit the bulk of that GTD field, I suspect that PJ will lose a little bit Nick Bull, excuse me, will lose a little bit of that lead that he's built up. That's down to about 2 seconds now to Dan Goldberg.
Yeah, he made that pass on the last lap, I think, probably in that traffic. I didn't see it myself, but he moved past Dan Goldberg to take the lead on that last lap, particularly after that pit stop, of course, from the 99 car. So got Dan Goldberg led for a couple of laps, but he's lost it now. But that you're right. I mean, traffic here is difficult to negotiate because there's some sweeping corners here. Dan, we heard Rod Fellows talking about that before we started this race, and you know, because of those sweeping corners, I mean, they're a real challenge for the drivers. But if you're in a faster car trying to get past a slower car, the slower car is still on its own limit, and to find your way around it on these sweeping corners is really difficult. And you have to be patient here, and it's easy to lose a second or two or a place or two as well. We saw that yesterday during the Michelin Pilot Challenge race. If somebody kind of got offline, as competitive as these fields are, you're likely to get freight trained. Several other cars are likely to go past you at the same time.
Top 7 in GTD are all pro cars. It's the number 3 Corvette with Alexander Sims aboard. Tommy Milner is his teammate behind him. About a second, then 3/4 of a second back to Madison Snow for Paul Miller Racing in the number 1 red, white and black BMW from Paul Miller Racing. Vassar Sullivan's Lexus. Jack Hawksworth is the 14 car in 4th. It's the yellow and black car. Then the Ford Mustang, Ford Multimatic Motorsport car, the 64 machine in 5th position for Marvin Kirchhofer. The FAF Motorsport back in plaid this weekend. The Tartan Turret back on the track. EO Racing, Seb Prior in Rexy. For Porsche in 7th position. And they spread out just a little more than we might have expected, by about 6 or 7 seconds. As far as GT is concerned, it's Heart of Racing and Spencer Pumpelly, the number 27 car that leads there. That's an Aston Martin, the dark grey-green car. He's got 2 GTD Pros in the shape of his own teammate, Mario Farnbacher, in the 23, and Joey Hand in the Ford Mustang GT3 number 65. Then Mick Grenier is second for the light blue corner of Preston Motorsport AMG GT3. It's the number 32 car. Then Dennis Anderson recovering from that early pit stop to remove the signboard from the front of the car. Wasn't doing the aero any good. Kept the bugs off the screen though. MDK High Class Racing. And then Patrick Gallagher is third in GTD. That's how it stands in GTD and GTD Pro. That's your VP Racing update in race. We'll do the P2s in a little while. We're coming down to, in fact, that is 15 minutes of the 2 hours and 40, 2 hours and 25 still to go. Good time to talk about drive times here, Jeremy Shaw, because that may influence some of the decisions to be made here for pit stops.
Yeah, minimum drive time for the LMP2s is, it's 40 minutes, I think, isn't it? Yeah, I think it's 40 minutes. So yeah, any time after that, 40 LMP2, 60 minutes, I beg your pardon. So yeah, 60 minutes for LMP2, so they will do a stint and a half minimum, because a stint around here is around about 40 to 45 minutes for an LMP2 car. For the GT cars, well, for Pro it's not relevant. It's 10 minutes for something really short. But for the regular GT cars, the minimum drive time is 45 minutes. So those GT cars can do around about an hour on a tank of fuel. So, but after 40, that minimum drive time has been elapsed, we will see quite a few of the GTD cars onto pit lane to change drivers.
Jeremy Shaw with me, John Hindhaugh. Sorry, Jeremy, go ahead.
Excuse me, John. Interested to see how Madison Snow has really moved that Paul Miller Racing BMW up into contention here. He's putting Tommy Milner now under a lot of pressure for second position, and Tommy Milner, having lost out to the tune of about 3 seconds before he was able to get past Jack Hawksworth into second place to his teammate Alexander Sims, has closed that down. So we've now got a 3-car train on board here with Madison Snow in third position, those 2 Corvettes just ahead of him on the road, so he's really charging hard in the early stages. Jack Hawksworth, he's only a second or so back in the 4th position, but the guy who's lost most ground in the early stages, Frankie Montecalvo, brilliant qualifying round yesterday, but he's down to 5th place now in GTD in the Sister Vasta Sullivan car, that's car number 12.
Shea Adam is our CrowdStrike pit reporter here at the Chevrolet Grand Prix, and watching 1 or 2 teams starting to get a little bit antsy on the wall. What's going on, Shea?
Well, the number 20 High Class Racing by MDK Prototype had to come in. They were getting a black flag because of the headlight that was dangling off the front of the car and the pieces that were hanging off the back. So they have changed all 4 corners of this car, in essence, trying to make sure that the nose is actually fastened down on. Now it is. They're making sure that the vent for the brake on the right-hand side of the car is functioning as well, and taking the time to make sure the car is good. This car has already lost so much ground. Now Dennis fires it back up and drives back out, but it was interesting. The IMSA tech officials were on site as well to be satisfied that the new bodywork would fit properly and would not in itself fall off.
That car's incident with the era number 18 and Stuart Wiltshire noted by race control. No action, no further action taken. Running that car for George Kurtz and Colin Brown again this weekend. What a partnership that has been between the drivers and indeed between Algarve Pro Racing. Now this is interesting, Jeremy, because what this says to me is that George is now fueled to the end of his 60 minutes. That's 21 minutes. You said it's about a stint and a half. That's 21 minutes into the race, 19 minutes into the race. He's fueled now, and that should take him to his drive time. They're splitting this race up very differently from the teams around them.
Yeah, very interesting that, and of course if there is a full course caution now, that will play into their favour, because they can get to the 1 hour mark from here for sure, and they will have track position, because if there is a full course caution, everybody else will come into the pits to top off with fuel, but he's already done that, so he doesn't need to do so. He can then stay out to the 1 hour mark, so great strategy I think from that number 040. I mean, he won't lose a lap by making that stop. And he should be in pretty good shape. Nick Bull doing a really nice job out front, extending his lead now as he worked his way through some traffic to 8 seconds all of a sudden over Dan Goldberg. And PJ Hyatt in Spike the Dragon, having served that drive-through penalty, is now right up onto the tail, or was a lap or so ago, he lost a bit of ground on that last lap, of Stephen Thomas in car number 11, the TDS Racing entry. So that battle developing now for 4th and 5th with that pit stop for George Kurtz in LMP2.
Yeah, and watch that car fly, because I suspect, Jeremy, that PJ will not be happy at all with himself. He did definitely jump across before the start line. It's a game of inches here, but they are briefed on that by race control before the race. And I think, as I say, he'll be a bit disappointed, but watch that car go. I wouldn't be surprised to see PJ setting some more quick laps. He has got the fastest lap of the race, but only just, as Nick Bull, as Jeremy was just mentioning, is down to a 1:10.5. It's a 1:10.4, the fastest lap of the race from the LMP2. So coming into 20 minutes elapsed, and at the front of GTD PRO, it's the 2 Corvettes from the BMW, the Lexus and the Mustang. Nick Bull by 10.5 seconds now. He's back in clear air in that number 52, and my goodness, he's made use of it. He's just passed a couple of cars and he's about halfway down the Mario Andretti straight. Next set of cars he's going to come up against will be, as you might imagine, the GTD cars, and it is Manny Franco for Conquest Racing. Also in there, the number 86 Karen Lee, MDK Motorsports Porsche. Those two in a little battle pack of their own. In fact, no, he's already cleared those two, so it is Manny Franco who will be the next one to go under the sword from the leader. Then the Orifadani AWA Chevrolet Corvette, and as he comes through turn 2, they're just going up over the hill at turn 3, so he's got a little bit of breathing space. And off into the tyre wall, it is the Motul car. This is the number 20. Once again, it's not been a good weekend for Dennis Anderson and the MDK by High Class Racing Orica, and he's planted that squarely into the tyre wall at the exit of the very fast turn number 9, and hasn't quite made it to turn 10. It's the final 2, and straight away, Jeremy, we've got... Yeah.
Before the caution comes out, Ben Keating brought his car onto pit lane for United Autosports USA, number 2 car, also number 8 and number 18, both came onto pit lane as well. I fancy that race control might try to wait to give the leaders an opportunity to come into the pits if they want to, before they throw the full course caution, if indeed that's necessary. And here are 2 leaders onto pit lane right now.
3 leaders, in fact, as Gar Robertson has followed them in. So Nick Bull into Europol by PR1 is there. This, I suspect, here will just be VP Racing fuel.
Correct, for all of our LMP2 contenders that have come into the pit lane. Actually, clipping the pit speed limit sign was Stephen Thomas on the way in the pit lane. The crew just kind of ignoring the fact that that's their pit lane official, moving that out of the way. In from the lead of GTD Pro, we've got the number 3 Corvette. That is not doing tires, just fuel. The 4 brought tires over for Tommy Milner, looked at the right side, looked at the left side, decided they needed to change the left side tires, so that service going on as well. We've got what looks like a driver change going on. Yes, all the way up, and Master Sullivan for the number 14. Ben Barnigan has taken over that car already. Jack Hawksworth is out. Number 3 is the first car back down and rolling. Also, I thought I saw Lauren Heinrich helmet getting aboard Rexy as the full course caution lights are on. We also had Harry Tinknell in fuel and 4 tires, but he stayed aboard. Patrick Gallagher is in with fuel and 4 tires, so he will elongate his opening stint as blending very nicely with Luis Perez-Campagna. And we've had Windward in. They've done fuel and tires for Russell Ward and a giant smoky burnout. The FAF fans are going to love that. Marvin Kirchhofer leaving the pit box with 4 new Michelin tires. He got heat into those very effectively.
So, as Jeremy mentioned, we didn't have to go full course yellow. No, we have now. So we have now gone full course yellow. So race control trying to be as equitable as possible. And I sort of don't have a problem with that, if I'm honest. I think that's the fairest way to do things. I always think that the leaders should get the first chance to come into the pits. One of the things that IMSA do very well, closing the pits when a full course yellow comes in, if they can. And they were giving Dennis Anderson the chance to reverse out so as not necessarily to take the full course yellow. Had that a couple of times yesterday and it worked very, very well indeed.
Yeah, true, and yeah, I like it. I mean, it's certainly a bit risky. There's no doubt about it, and you have to rely on the drivers that are on track to respect.
Correct.
Yeah, well, yeah, this is the thing. They have to respect the yellow flag. If they go off there and make a bad situation worse, ultimately they're driving the car, so it's their fault. And if they do that, they will be massively pinged. So, yeah, I think if you try to take advantage of race control, trying to be equitable, then, you know, not good. And the official will come down on you like a ton of bricks. But I like that call. Otherwise, it completely messes up the race for no good reason. I mean, it's great for those that are able to take advantage of the timing if the caution had come out there. But I like what race control is doing. It's certainly a lot fairer than would otherwise be the case. And I'm all for equitability. Is that a word?
A lot of talk about levelling up here in the UK at the moment, and perhaps that's what we're doing. Porsche keys to the race, patience then, and avoiding penalties. Well, we've had a couple of costly penalties early on for some of the top runners. Ben Keating into the pit lane early, and also we had the leader of the race at Paul Sitter, didn't we? The number 99, PJ Hyatt. That's kind of levelled itself up as well. Traffic has not been as a big issue. I've sort of put traffic in and then put less, or maybe it should be fewer, less traffic perhaps, because of the different mix of the categories here. It's been good racing so far, and quite clearly the teams with the non-pro drivers in at the front of LMP2 feel that these Michelin slick tyres can do at least a stint and a half, because that's what they were doing at the front of the field, bringing in their drivers. George Kurtz came in early. He's fueled to the end of his stint, but did not take a new set of tyres. That's our Porsche keys to the race for the Chevrolet Grand Prix here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. Let's, before anything else happens in the GTDs, give you a quick rundown of what's happening there, because we have had some pit stops from the pro cars, but not all of them. Joey Hand has stayed out, so the number 65 Ford Multimatic Ford Mustang is leading the race from in second place in GTD Pro. Alex Sims, the pole sitting Corvette, Alexander Sims in the pole sitting Corvette number 3, then Madison Snow. Pits are not yet open. In GTD, it's Mick Grenier from Brendan Aree from Kyle Marcelli. None of those 3 cars, that's the 32 blue Mercedes, the 70 black and red Inception McLaren, and Wayne Taylor Racing's Lamborghini, the Dex Imaging car, the number 45, it's the dark coloured machine. It's black, it's a dark grey, you be the judge. None of those top 3 in GTD have yet stopped, and we are enacting a pass around. Jeremy, explain pass around for those that don't know.
Yeah, this is for the cars that are behind the safety car but ahead of the class leaders. So that would be the GT cars in this instance. If you are to avoid any, they haven't been lapped by their class leader, so they're able to go past the safety car and take up position at the back of the field.
We have had some stoppers in GTD Pro. Tommy Milner in the Ford Corvette. Jack Hawksworth in the number 14 Vassar Sullivan Lexus, and Harry Tinknell in the Ford Multimatic. Also Madison Snow and Alex Sims, both, all of those 5 have pitted, whereas Joey Hand stayed out. Now, let's see who comes into the pits when they are reopened.
And what happened there, John, is that the three of the GT cars that did not pit had not been lapped at that stage, or rather got back on the lead lap with the overall race leader when the LMP2 cars came into the pit lane. So what is happening now is that all of the other GT cars had therefore not been lapped. They had been lapped by the overall leader, but not by those top 3 cars that did not come into the pits. So everybody else, other than those 3 GT cars, which is the number 65, number 33 and 32, everybody else was in between the safety car and the class leader. So they could go past the safety car and run around to the back of the pack, and then we will get on with the sequence.
Just noticing as well, in that scramble to get into the pits, when the 2 Corvettes came in, the TDS car picked up the pit-in pylon. Now, we saw a 5-minute stop and hold for Richard Westbrook for hitting the RFID on the exit of the pits, but this is pit lane furniture, so I'm waiting to see if there's a penalty to be assessed on that TDS LMP2. Stephen Thomas, by the way, driving that. Tower Motorsport in the pit lane, starting this little section of pit lane visitors. Shea Adam is our CrowdStrike pit reporter.
John Ferrano just came in to say hi to his crew and get a little splash of fuel to elongate this stint, but Stuart Wiltshire came in with the Era Motorsport car, and he has had a windshield clean as well as a splash of fuel, and a nice cool drinks bottle actually passed into him with the straw. So he's gotten some extra refreshment to make it to the end of this 60-minute segment. Remember, first time for a race for quite some time for Stu. Doing a good job out there so far. And also, just while we're saying good job to people, how about Brendan Arieb? He had stealthed his way up to 4th place before that caution came out, doing a fine job in the Inception race in McLaren.
Yes,
indeed,
but
Solskjaer, yes.
But he is not. He did not pit with everybody else. So he's just made a pit stop, I think, in that number 70 car. So that's dropped him all the way to the back of the GTD field.
Negative. No, he hasn't been down the pit lane according to timing and scoring. So I don't know why he's dropped to the back and is now in 13th. I saw him dropping down the timing screen and instinctively looked to see if he was in the pit lane. He has not been in the pit lane.
Okay, fine. Is that a transponder glitch then, perhaps? Or is it a transponder glitch?
Could be. I'm just checking to see if there's anything. Shane might have to go and have a word with that team, actually. The pits are now open for the GTs this time around. We're also putting back some marker boards in towards turn 8, one of the fastest corners on the circuit that were cleaned up earlier on, doing a little bit of clean up there after a wild ride by Dennis Anderson earlier on. That car, by the way, is on the back of the flatbed, MDK by High Class Racing. We saw some utterly brilliant work by the track services team. Inception are at the front of the line, Jeremy, but scored at the back of GTD. So I'm not entirely certain what's going on there. I think we might have missed a lap, maybe missed a lap from them, not certain. Let's go down to CrowdStrike pit reporter Shea Adam, who's got the GT stop.
Fuel and tires for the number 65 Ford Mustang. It is Joey Hand staying aboard that car. Fuel and tires also for the Scuderia Corse Ferrari. The Conquest Racing Ferrari. Don't know where that one came from, as Manny Franco has not yet completed minimum drive time, but they have given him some sticker tires. Sticker tires also for Mick Grenier in the 32 KPM Mercedes. They finished on the podium here last year. Fuel only for Sheena Monk, the Gradient Racing number 66, and another killer stop by the Paul Miller Racing crew, as now Madison is handed over to Brian, and it will bring Brian Sellers to the end of this race. He was the second fastest driver last year, so keep an eye on Brian because he is amped up and ready to try and get another win for Paul Miller Racing. It's been almost a year since their last victory.
Jeremy Shaw and I have been swapping notes here as Shea was talking there in that CrowdStrike pit report. I think Shea's just said my head, does the teacher know? And we've sort of come to the same understanding here about why Brendan Arieb is at the front of the line behind the safety car, Jeremy, but at the back of the GTD field.
I think he must have missed the wave by. It's up to the drivers. He was I think the first car behind the safety car during that caution period. The teams are told by race control, commence the wave by, and it's up to the drivers and teams to inform their drivers to do so. I think that he must have missed that opportunity. Once everybody else has gone past, that's it. You're done. You can't then go on. So that is why I think that he is at the back of the line. Although he's just taken the wave. I don't know. He's just taken.
That's the final wave by. That's the final wave by.
Okay, fine. So he's able to take the final
missed
wave.
The pass around.
Correct. He missed the pass around. That's exactly right. And so before we go back to green, after the pit stops have been completed, which they now have been, then, as you say, there is the final wave by, and anybody who then is behind the safety car and the class leader can do that pass around and go to the back of the field. But he has lost himself an awful lot of track position.
He's lost 11 places. 9 places, and a lot of real estate. Brian Sellers back into the pit lane for Paul Miller Racing. That car making its third trip down the pit lane. I don't see... Well, it couldn't have been a penalty, so Shea Adam tells me in my ear it was a splash of VP Racing fuel. So 2 hours and 3 minutes to go. What are they splitting the race into? Interesting, very interesting. There's no real drive time in GTD Pro to worry about. So that's strategic. That's absolutely strategic. So as we're getting ready to go back to green, here's how it stands at the front of the field. Nick Bull leads for Inter Europol. Behind the safety car, the 52 green and yellow cars ahead of George Kurtz for CrowdStrike Racing. George, remember, had just pitted before this safety car period to get him to his 60 minutes. That's just been confirmed by the Algarve Pro Racing team on their Twitter account. In third, Gar Robinson for Riley. That's the number 74 orange and blue Ranch 74 sponsored machine. Then Dan Goldberg for the red, white and blue number 22. United Autosports. TDS, the yellow and black Stephen Thomas driven number 11 is next up, and in GTD Pro it's Alexander Sims, Paul sitting back at the front with his teammate Tommy Milner behind him. 3 and 4 Corvettes ahead of Lexus number 14 from Jack Hawksworth, and then Ford Multimatic Ford Mustang GT3. That's your in-race update with VP Racing. Back to green flag racing and the Chevrolet Grand Prix here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. Just over 2 hours to go, and Nick Bull heads off again and tries to rebuild that super lead that he had as he weaves left and right under the Chevrolet Grand Prix, heading over the top of turn number 2 and down into the dip. Beautiful circuit this, following the rise and fall, the topography of the local area. The local roads are like this as well. It's a great place to come and visit at any time of the year, and surely has to be a bucket list track if you are a fan of motor racing. The dozen prototypes culled now by one, as Dennis Anderson's incident has taken that MDK by high-class racing Orica, the number 20, out of the competition. But the 11 stretching away now, down Mario Andretti straight, under the Canadian Tire walk over bridge and towards turn 8 for the first time of asking after the restart. Got to be careful here with tyres just getting back up to temperature and pressure, and George Kurtz, who's very confident there, and closes into the back of the leader as they come to the last right-handed corner at turn 10, White's corner, running over the red and white curves. Across the start-finish line and down into turn 1. Pretty much flat even at this early stage of the running with full fuel tanks as well. So that bit of strategy, Jeremy Shaw, played out very nicely for CrowdStrike. The team confirming our assumptions that they brought George in to give him enough fuel to go all the way to the end of his stint.
Yeah, and it kind of wouldn't have worked out with the timing of that caution, except for the fact, because of the caution, the other leaders had to slow down before they came into the pits, so that enabled him to move farther up the order than he would otherwise have done. I mean, when he came into the pits and he made his stop on the ITS schedule, he was running in 4th, so he's gained him a couple of positions. He's in 2nd now. The other strategic decision here that was made just a moment or two ago was number 1 car coming onto pit lane for a 2nd time during that caution period. And the reason for that is we went green with 2 hours and 2 minutes to go. I think that number 1 team reckoned they needed just a splash more fuel, unless they just missed a bit, unless they had a problem during their pit stop. That little extra splash of fuel might enable them to get to the end of the race if there are no full more caution periods. But with 1 lap, I don't know, I think they might have had a miscue during their pit stop.
A couple of penalties to talk about. We were talking about these in our Porsche keys to the race, track limits, but we've seen some other violations as well. First of all, the tower car leaving with equipment attached. That will be a drive-through. A far more substantial one for the Forte Lamborghini. The number 78 car, Misha Goldberg, has been in and waited and now left the pits because he was assessed a stop and 60-second hold, a full 1 minute, for taking more than emergency service in a closed pit. Both of those penalties have been attended to by the team. And a car off at the top of the circuit. It's the AWA Corvette, full course yellow. This is at the top of the hill at turn 3, and that is Ori Fadani, who's disrupted the tyre wall, and we've seen a couple of people in there. He's moved a big bundle of tyres, and we are back under full course yellow. The car has bounced back out towards the curbing, but I think there was contact between that car and Brian Sellers, is what we're hearing from race control. The IMSA safety crew already on site for that car. Now this is going to break up the rhythm of the race here, Jeremy.
Yeah, it is. It's a shame. Now, by the way, the 42 minutes into this race now, in a lap or so, the 45-minute minimum for the GTD drivers would have been met. But let's have a look and see the replay here. Brian Sellers going around to the outside of the number 13 car, and yeah.
Ori coming back using the racing line, and there was an overlap. There wasn't much of it. It's on the exit of turn 3, and I'm not sure. I think that was right on the left rear quarter. There wasn't an overlap at that point, and surely it's beholden on the Brian Sellers is not a dirty driver by any stretch of the imagination, but surely it is beholding on the car following to just lift out in that. In fact, Brian was braking at that point. Now it'll be interesting to see how race control see that. The good news is that Ori Fadani is out of the car. The car will not be coming back anytime soon. That incident, it will surprise you not at all to know that is under review. Hello to our AMR safety team, our flaggers, and all of our officials, volunteers who allow us to go motor racing. Thank you very much indeed. Tough one to call that, Jeremy, in the heat of battle just after a restart, and one of the reasons why you and I always say we don't want to be in race control.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, that was a toughie, because I mean, you have to you kind of track out there to the outside of the corner, and from Brian Sellers' perspective, he would be certainly you wouldn't expect number 13 car to be slowing down other than doing anything else other than accelerating out of the corner at that stage. So yeah, odd one, to be honest. Not quite sure what might have happened there, unless there was a bit of a wiggle for number 13 car. You'd only done a lap or so after the green, so tyres probably not up to optimal working temperatures and pressures at that stage. But Ori there, at least good news for him, he's out of the car and into the ambulance, hopped in there under his own power, so don't think there's any problem there. But yeah, really unfortunate incident for both of those drivers. Obviously, it's ended number 13 car's race, but it's Brian Sellers will be upset with that as well, because he is, as you say, a very thoughtful driver.
Can't imagine anybody is going to take advantage. Actually, we won't have another opening of the pits, because this is what's called a short yellow.
Yeah.
This is good news for Misha Goikberg, who, well, possibly he's 14.
Yeah,
Lamborghini has dropped off the lead lap, yes. It's better news for the other car. That's the Tower machine, the number 8, John Ferrano. Did he take his stop? I think he did. Yeah, he did. And when we come back to green, Jeremy, we will have met minimum drive time for LMP2.
Yeah. Possibly, John. What I was going to say before we saw that replay of the incident was the fact that the minimum time for GTD is now met, 46 minutes on the clock. Yes. But because it is a full course caution, so shortly after, within 15 minutes of the last green flag, as you say, this will be a short caution, so the pits will not be opened for regular service.
And also the teams have to be mindful, and so should we, that time spent in the pit lane does not count towards your drive time. So if you've been down the pit lane a couple of times, you can probably take a couple of minutes off that. It probably won't be a factor, as Jeremy says right now, but that should be factored in to your calculations. Jeremy and I have been thoroughly impressed by the teamwork exhibited by track services in mending tyre walls and having a really strategic way of working, with many people doing different things all at the same time. And one of the absolute stars this weekend has been the little four-wheeled Kubota with the forklift on the front of it, which obviously I've named now Luigi. It's not actually red, it's orange, so maybe actually we should be calling it a maybe we should be calling it a McLaren name rather than the Ferrari name. But if you've seen the movie Cars, then you will understand what I'm talking about. And they've worked very well together, Jeremy, all weekend, and got us back to green in very good time indeed.
Yeah, it's been brilliant to watch, hasn't it? And unfortunately, this incident has caused quite a mess to that tyre barrier, so it's going to take a little bit longer to rectify that. The kind of conveyor belt that goes across the front of the tyres has been dislodged and pulled away, and it's going to be a little bit longer than usual, but it's been amazing to watch those crews in action. Certain people putting the tyre barriers back in place, certain people clearing up the racetrack, guys making sure the driver is taken care of properly, and this has been extraordinarily well choreographed. Unfortunately, of course, they've had lots of practice at it.
Well, that's true. I've been loving the way that they've worked together, and when cars have had to go on flatbeds, they've been lifted in the air with the wrecker truck. The flatbed's been reversed underneath, so there's no worry about rolling the roll back off the truck. It's a really smart way of working. Work smarter, not harder, is something that's said in business. And my goodness me, these guys here at CTMP could really teach some lessons to some of the other tracks around the world that I go to and watch motor racing at. They are at monocle levels of efficiency here, and I say that with absolute respect for what's gone on here this weekend, because obviously on a street circuit they have to be very good indeed, and I'm thoroughly impressed. I'm very honoured to be an ambassador for the British Motor Racing Marshals Club, and I know how hard the men and women in orange, as it is in the UK, work on their procedures, and they are very, very impressive indeed. The backup that the marshals here have had this weekend from recovery and track services has been absolutely superb, absolutely superb. And if I had a hat on, I would doff it right now to everybody concerned. That doesn't happen by accident. Sadly, we are back under control of the safety car as we are waiting for the track to be deemed safe again. Let's give you a quick VP Racing update. In GTD Pro, it's Corvette first and second, 3 from 4. Alexander Sims and Tommy Milner, the starting drivers, still in the car. Kyle Marcelli for Wayne Taylor Racing's Lamborghini Huracan, the number 45 car, which had an issue early on, is now leading GTD, but has not stopped at all. It has not been down the pit lane even once. One of only, I think, two cars that hasn't done that. 3 cars, I was right in the first place. In fourth of the GTDs, another pro car, Harry Tinknell, Ford Multimatic, the Mustang number 64. Then it's Jack Hawksworth for Lexus RCF GT3 number 14, another pro car. Lauren Heinrich for EOL Racing is in the number 77 EOL Racing car. He's taken over from Seb Prio in Rexy. Then it's Ross Gunn, 6th in GTD Pro, 7th in that line of GT cars for Harter Racing Aston Martin. He's got Marvin Kerthofer in the number 9 back in plaid Pfaff Motorsport. There is a t-shirt for that available at the track, I'm led to believe. It looks very good, ACDC-esque, very nice bit of design. Pfaff Motorsports, then McLaren in 7th in GTD Pro. Then a couple of GTDs making up the top 10 of GT cars. Spencer Pumpelli drafted into Harter Racing team this weekend because they are also racing down in Brazil for the FIA WEC in Interlagos. The number 27 is 2nd in the GTD class and 9th in the line of GT cars. Patrick Gallagher makes up the top 10 for Turner Motorsport in their BMW M4 GT3, the number 96. At the front of the field, LMP2s are like this in the Europol. The number 52 car from the 04 CrowdStrike Racing, the black and silver machine. Then the yellow and blue of Gar Robinson's number 74. The 22 United Autosport, Dan Goldberg. Stephen Thomas for TDS in the bright highlighter yellow and black number 11. Then it's EOL Racing, PJ Hyatt fighting his way back through after a drive-through when he jumped the start. He was judged to have false started by changing lanes too early before the start line. Number 99 then in 6th position. 7 for Luis Perez Compang, who's also had his issues early on. He was in the wall at one stage and has fought back to 7th position in that. So Richard Mille AF Corsa red and black car. Ben Keating in the wins coloured number 2 United Autosports USA car is in 8th. 9th for Lance Wilsey in Stars and Stripes and the Canadian flag Sean Creech Motorsport number 33 is in 9th, and top 10's made up by John Ferrano. That incident, by the way, that put us under yellow, under review at the moment in race control. Stuart Wilshire is the final of the 11 remaining LMP2 cars, the Aero Motorsport cars, still on the lead lap, and that's your VP Racing update with an hour and 46 minutes remaining. A damaged OrlandoCorp.com AWA yellow and black Corvette is on its way back to the paddocks via the internal roads here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, and plenty of the fans taking the opportunity to grab a snap of the damage on that car. Meantime, the box van, which had some extra tyres in it, has done its job, so it's making its way back around the circuit. That is heading through turn 7 and onto the Mario Andretti straight behind the line of cars. So we will be going back to green fairly shortly, I would suspect. A lot of recalculation going on here, Jeremy, I reckon, in the pit lane.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're quite likely to see some pit stops pretty much as we go back to green, because the minimum drive time, I think, will have probably elapsed by then. 54 minutes down now. As you say, one thing the LMP2 teams have to bear in mind now at this stage is that the time spent on pit lane does not count towards your drive time. So all of the LMP2 cars have been in at least once, a couple of them have been in twice. That is certainly something they need to take in mind if we go back to green with, with around about exactly an hour on the clock. They wouldn't be able to come in then, they'd have to wait another lap or possibly even two. But for the GTD cars, their minimum drive time comfortably met now, so they can come in right away, and I think we will see quite a few of those teams coming in to make their driver change at the earliest opportunity, which will be as soon as the green flag comes out. Interestingly, however, in the GTD Pro, I noticed in that short little couple of laps we had between those two full course cautions, Harry Tinknell, who's been a bit of a star, has been the team's star, I think, for Ford Multimatic Motorsports this year in that brand new Ford Mustang. He set the fastest lap of the race at Watkins Glen a couple of weeks ago, and he got past Jack Hawksworth during that 2-lap sprint. So he's up into third position now in car number 64. That's, of course, the Multimatic run cars, that organisation based just down the road in Toronto.
Yeah, and you don't get past Jack Hawksworth easily, so he'll have earned that one. Coming back to green at the line this time around, we'll have round about 1 hour and 43 minutes to go, so just under the hour elapsed, and the field at the Chevrolet Grand Prix is under the control of Nick Bull now, and into Europol will control the restart. Safety car in the pit lane. The blue and white Corvette then has pulled off, and we wait to when Nick presses the right hand pedal, and it's coming through the final corner. As soon as he was straightened up, he gets a couple of cars lengths jump on the rest of the field as we go back to green flag racing. An hour 43 and 12 when we cross the line, and once again the top 11 of the LMP2 racing for overall victory get off the line very quickly, and through goes the back of that field. It looks like Ben Keating trying to fight his way back through, and overtaking Luis Perez Compang and PJ Hyatt.
Yeah, PJ Hyatt, I think, got a little bit wide there in turn 2 and that lost him a couple of positions. Here we are, though, with some pit stops for GTD, most notably the car that did not stop earlier on, number 45 car that was leading in GTD. He comes in to make his driver change. Carl Marcelli then handing over to Danny Formal. Also in the pits are Brendan Iribe in car number 70 and Sheena Monk in car number 66, and Kieron Lee at the back of the field.
Shea Adam was watching those pit stops.
Fuel, tires, driver change for all 4 of the cars involved. So it is now Anders Ford back aboard the 86 Porsche. We've got Kyle Marcelli out of the 45 Dex Imaging Lamborghini from WPR Andretti. That is now Danny Formal. It's Stephen McAleer behind the wheel of the 66 Radium Racing Acura, and Brendan Reeve in the 70 Inception McLaren. I went down to their pit a little bit earlier on to try and figure out how they lost that lead. It's safe to say that their atmosphere right now is verging on toxic, as into the pit lane comes once again Brian Sellers. I'm guessing, John, this is the drive-through?
You're absolutely right, Shea. That is the drive-through from race control. and take it now whilst the field is still fairly close together. I think that's pretty sensible to do. And Louis Delatraz is getting ready on the pit wall, so expect to see him in to the battle shortly. He's the second driver for AO Racing, and we've got a number of other drivers getting ready as well. So Shea Adam is going to have some more business down in the pit lane. Leaders in traffic pretty early because of the passing and repassing and pitting and repitting. And here's an opportunity for George Kurtz. In fact, round the outside. Oh, and he's just nudged off there for a moment. That was Gar Robinson down at the bottom of turn 2. He keeps his foot in as he was trying to make 2 positions. TDS in there as well. Stephen Thomas taking the opportunity. And that all started when Nick Bull was trying to put a lap on the Lamborghini, the Dex Imaging car, which has just come out of the pits on cold Michelin tyres. And that was a really dicey moment. But Stephen Thomas goes from 5th to 2nd in that exchange for TDS. Remarkable stuff there that could have been so much worse. Thank goodness for that extra run-off at the bottom of turn 2, Jeremy.
Yeah, boy, that was dodgy. Turn 1 it was dodgy, and turn two it was dodgier, because Gar Robinson tried to take advantage to go around the outside there, but the whole situation was precipitated on the at turn 1, where Danny Formal didn't leave much room there for number 52 car to go down the inside, and Nick Bull really wasn't incisive enough to make that pass. That backed up the rest of the field to get everybody else an opportunity to think about trying to make a pass for what was then the overall lead. So thankfully, I think everybody's got away with it.
Just about, yes.
As you say, the big gainer there was Stephen Thomas up into the 2nd position in car number 11, and Ben Keating is actually lost out a bit there as well, but Luis Perez Compact up into 3rd position in car number 88.
Let's go down to the CrowdStrike pit lane. Reporter Shea Adam, who's catching up with some of the drivers who are out after their first stint. Shea?
For Kyle Marcelli, I mean, talking about a little bit of pain in your arm, you don't feel that pain when you're leading at your home track, do you?
Yeah, you know what, I give the lead to the crew. The guys on the box called some good strategy to move us forward. I was able to make up 1 or 2 spots on track. We're just lacking some overall speed right now, and I think we missed a little bit in qualifying. It just didn't go our way in terms of managing the traffic. We knew we could have been a few spots higher before the start of the race, and now we're just trying to do what we can from the box to move us forward.
How much can Danny do from behind the wheel?
Yeah, Danny's always good, and I've got complete confidence in him. So we'll see. An hour 40 to go. Our strategy is kind of always evolving. I'm not sure what's going to happen from here to the end.
You know, Kyle gave credit to the guys on the box, and the crew really did do a great job. The 45's pit stop, Don, was the best one of that last sequence.
Adam, our CrowdStrike pit lane reporter. The battle at the front of the field continues to rage on with 100 minutes just under still to go in this race. Nick Bull still leading the race from Stephen Thomas by a second, but then there's a gaggle of cars behind Stephen. TDS, Richard Mayer, Luis Perez Compact right there in number 88, Gar Robinson, Dan Goldberg, Ben Keating. That means we've had a pit stop for the number 33 Sean Creech Motorsport Ligier, the sole Ligier in the race. Lance Wilsey has pulled out of that battle and is taking service at the moment. And Joao Barbosa just got into that car and it will come out right in front of the leaders. And again, this will be a car on cold tyres, albeit an LMP2 car on cold tyres, but nevertheless, a car on cold tyres that the leaders have to deal with, Jeremy.
Yeah, that's going to be yeah, interesting to see. I mean, Joel Barbosa, of course, massively experienced, so he should be able to get up to speed pretty quickly. But he'll certainly like to stay on the lead lap if he possibly can. Lance Willsey had done a good job, but he'd lost quite a bit of time in those 2 or 3 laps after the restart, and he was holding up Stuart Wiltshire as well. So they'd fallen 11 or 12 seconds behind the rest of the pack. Lost out the last lap, or a lap or so ago. Number 04 car, he was second at the restart. He got shuffled back a couple of positions in that little contretemps at turn 2, and then the following lap, i.e. last time around, he lost another 3 positions. So number 04 car back into 8th position right now.
Out of the pits for the number 8 Tower Motorsport, John Ferrano brought that car in, and at the end of the pit lane again, it's going to be joining right into the battle. There are the leaders. No, they've gone through, so it shouldn't be too bad. And back into the battle then, Renger van der Zande, as in comes CrowdStrike with APR. Shea Adam is our CrowdStrike pit lane reporter.
Colin Brown is climbing behind the wheel of a race car. He's won here 6 times in the last 11 attempts. He's going to try and make that 7 for 12 as he's getting strapped in. Fuel and 4 sticker Michelin tires going onto this car. No hurry, no hubbub. They are calm and collected and doing this stop exactly as they need to, waiting on the fuel and trying to get Colin's left shoulder belt strapped in. It does not want to go into the catch. This is a problem for the crew. Is the fueling still going on? Now the door closes and Colin is sent. I think they lost time on that stop, though.
Well, he's now out, and Colin Brown is the man to put in these situations as he comes out of the pit lane. The leader goes across the line. Where are we waiting? We're waiting for the 52 car to come through, and I think he's right in behind him. I think he's come out right in front of the number 52 car. So Nick Bull will be staring at the back of the CrowdStrike machine as they head through turn number 3. Now over the top of the rise under the Chevrolet walkover bridge. And the leader, yep, is right there. So key moment there for Colin Brown. He hasn't dropped a full lap behind the leader, but only just by about 100 yards, I'd say, Jeremy.
Yeah, so that should be fine. He should be able to get up to speed now, I think, and an edge away from Nick Bull. So that's certainly good news for him. That might have been costing a little bit of ground in that pit stop, but shouldn't be costly at the end of the day.
Number 3 Corvette is our leader in GT and GTD Pro. Got Tommy Milner right in behind Alexander Sims. Tommy holding back the Ford Mustang. Ford versus Corvette. Oh, yes, please. Yeah. There's a rivalry for the ages, and that new Ford Mustang GT3 starting to hit its stride a little bit now. Still in its first year of competition, of course. I have a suspicion that it's only going to get better and better. Renger van der Zande, having been plugged into the Tower Motorsports Oregon number 8, has just set the fastest lap of the race, Jeremy.
Yeah, no surprise there. And 109.834 for Renger van der Zande, so a good run by him. Just looking at the GTD Pro, after that restart, number 77 car also got past number 14, so Jack Hawkes has lost another position shortly after that restart, so he's settled now into the 5th position. Lauren Heinrich in that AO Racing Porsche up into, did I say Prix? It was they made their driver change, hasn't it? So it's Heinrich in that number 77 car up into 4th position now for AO Racing in GTD Pro.
Jeremy Shaw alongside me, John Heindorf in the For Performance Global Broadcast Centre. Shea Adam is our CrowdStrike pit lane reporter. Don't forget, we will be looking for our BDO Knows Strategy Award in this race. 1 nomination from the 3 different categories. Into the pits for PJ Hyatt and AO Racing. Shea Adam is watching the stop.
Fuel tires and driver change for Spike the Dragon and AO Racing, and the number 99 PJ is out. It's Louis Delatraz taking over. And if you're thinking Louis Delatraz doesn't normally drive this car, you would be correct. Louis did put this car on pole at the 24 Hours of Le Mans, so he's familiar with AO Racing and driving alongside PJ Hyatt, but now he gets to drive an LMP2 car in North America once again, about to turn his first racing laps at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. He was pretty happy after practice, really enjoying this place. Where does he cycle back out? Well, he's going to be just ahead of Colin Brown, or is he?
Coming out to the end of the pit lane, the number 52 car, and as the 52 car rather comes into its pit lane, the Inter-Europol by PR1. This is a driver change as well, Shea Adam.
It is. Nick Bull has jumped out of the car, forgot his seat insert, so we went back to grab it. Fuel and 4 tires by the Inter-Europol by PR1 Matheson crew, and just waiting on that left rear to be secured. Now the car can be dropped off the air jacks, waiting on the refueling as well. Driver change still going on. Clean of the windshield for Tom Dillman. Now we are clear, and door is still open. There we go. They've lost a lot of time on the tail end of that stop, about 5 seconds where the car was stationary. It could have left, but it wasn't.
Adam down in the pit lane. And an hour and 32 minutes to go. Actually, it's a bit less than that because actually timing and scoring is locked up completely at the moment. So we'll wait for the hard-working team at Alcamel to reset what needs to be set. And what we'll have to do is keep an eye on what we can see on the track itself. There is an hour and 29 minutes remaining, not what is showing on the timing screens. Fortunately, I had a clock running at the start of the race. TDS into the pit lane. Stephen Thomas jumping out of the car. So Thomas out of that number 11 car, which he started. And looks like a fairly standard stop. Also in the pit lane at the moment, that's the AF Corsa, the Richard Mille, excuse me, prototype. The number 88, which has had its problems today, but somehow Luis Perez Compan got the Richard Mille AF Corsa car back into 3rd place before that pit stop. Windscreen wipers going on that car.
Right on both counts there, aren't you? The Richard Mille AF Corsa entry.
Yes.
Yeah. He comes out right with those
spreading
other
the
two.
load there, Jeremy.
Yeah, well, perfect, absolutely right. And coming out right with that other two that we were watching a lap or so ago, number 9904, and the 88 car came out right with them as well. Not quite sure where the number 52 car is in relation to them. As you say, our scoring is locked up, which is not helpful at all. But on board here with Colin Brown. And this is going to be quite a fight from here on out. This is going to be a lot of fun.
Also in the pit lane, the number 22 and the 2. So both of the United Autosports prototypes are in. They were in 5th and 6th before this round of pit stop started. And it looks like the number 2, the Wins car's just jumped ahead. So Ben Keating out, and they were just a wee bit quicker than their teammates there as they head towards the exit of the pit lane. Let's see where they join back in. They're behind the GT Pro leader, Alexander Sims, who's pulled out a couple of seconds on his teammate Tommy Milner. And he was up behind the number 66. Stephen McAleer now behind the wheel of Gradient. And thank you to Alcamel and the hard-working techs at Canadian Tire Motorsport Track. We have got the timing back with an hour and 27 minutes and 12:11:10 to go. So Gar Robinson still scored as the leader in the number 74 Riley, the Oringer, having not yet made his second standard pit stop. There's a variety of different strategies going on here. So Philippe Albuquerque has taken over from Dan Goldberg. Yes, that's right, that one. In the United Autosports number 22. Ben Hanley is in the United Autosports number 2 car. Tom Dillman in second place for Inter Europol now, having taken over that car at the pit stops. Scott Huffaker is behind TDS Racing at the number 11 car. And the top 5 then are the 74 Riley, the 52 Inter Europol, but they're stopped coming for that 74 one presumes. Then Scott Huffaker for TDS 11, then Ben Handley jumping Philippe Albuquerque for United Autosports in the pit lane. Well, not like that. In GTD Pro, 3 seconds Alexander Sims now over his teammate Tommy Milner. They've both been in since the start of the race, as is Harry Tinknell for Ford Multimatic. That's 3, 4 and 64, your top 3. And quite a queue forming behind Tommy Milner at the moment, with Lauren Heinrich right there as well in Rexy for number 77, the green dinosaur. And then they've got Spike closing in on them as well. And that now is Louis Delatraz in the purple number 99 LMP2, 6th in that particular class. Let's go down to GTD, and Pat Gallagher for Turner Motorsport now lead. So they've had a good cycle, but they've not yet made their second pit stops. 1 or 2 have in GT. The 96 Turner Motorsport M4 then leads that class from Spencer Pumpelly and Harter Racing in second in the 27 Aston. And Russell Ward stealthed up into 3rd position in the Winwood Racing number 57. Not a great race for his dad yesterday, but they are having a better run of it today in a podium position as it stands, with 1 hour and 25 minutes to go and fast laps starting to come in. That's your VP in race update. Jeremy Shaw.
Yeah, so interesting that the Riley team has elected to allow Gar Robinson to get some more track time here, because it's certainly going to cost him some time. He's in the pits now then, so 49 laps completed, 1 hour and 15 by Gar Robinson. He will hand over that car to Felipe Fraga, who was quickest in one of the sessions yesterday. But I wonder how much time that would going to cost him, because the drivers that had already made their changes going at least a couple of seconds a lap quicker than was Gar.
In the pit lane then for that number 74 machine. Shea Adam is our CrowdStrike pit lane reporter. There's been some comms difficulties at the track, but I think we've got Shea back now. That looked fairly standard for the car that came in out of the lead. Felipe Fraga now installed. Shea Adam. Maybe I was being overly optimistic there in that case.
Yeah, a change of position, John, in GTD Pro P2 now. Harry Tinknell in that number 64 Mustang ahead of Tommy Milner. So the Corvettes have been split. Alexander Sims has pulled away a little bit again, as he did in the early stages of the race. Then he was pinned back by the others. But in between them, as they crossed the line, was Renke van der Zande, but he'll be past Alexander Sims already as I speak now. And Harry Tinknell, a great run once again for that Ford Multimatic Motorsports team, running second place in car number 64.
And that's a good run as Tom Dillman resets the fastest lap of the race, Jeremy. We are under 69 seconds, 1:08.945 for the Inter Europol leading car. 3 seconds to the good. Scott Huffaker puts the TDS number 11 Orica's best lap of the race in, and Louis Delatraz in 6 does the same for the 99. There's performance out there now with just over 80 minutes to go.
Yeah, fascinating now. The ante has been upped, has it not? And that late pit stop for number 74 has been costly. He's now 17 seconds behind Tom Dillman. Great lap by him. That is a new, certainly, WeatherTech lap record for LMP2. The old one stood to Matt McMurray at a 108. Excuse me, no, that was a 108.1, wasn't it? So 108.9 there for Tom Dillman. But I think there's a little bit more time to come from some of these contenders. But even though Scott Huffaker said his best lap of the race in the second place car number 11, he still lost a half a second to Tom Dillman in the lead.
Shea Adam is down in the pit lane, and our CrowdStrike pit report. And by the way, Shea, you were spot on with Algar Pro Racing and CrowdStrike. They had a little problem with Colin Brown's belts but they stayed on the lead lap. So well spotted there with your practiced eye in our CrowdStrike pit report.
Well, thank you very much. Nick Bull, we were just talking about wide eyes racing around CTMP. This place in an LMP2 car, is it verging on scary, the speeds that you guys were able to get?
I mean, certainly when we showed up Friday, the first practice session, you get out and you kind of have to take a deep breath. It's exactly what you said. I haven't felt G-loads like this in a car ever. I think at the exit or at the bottom of turn 2 in the compression, we're seeing over like close to 4G, which is something I never thought I'd get to experience, number one, but it's a tricky technical place on top of that. It's not just high speed, it's a rhythm track, which I really always enjoy, especially with traffic. You can really have fun with it.
Now, the P2 class, having not been here for several years, how much are you having to lean on the experience of the championship-winning team that is PR1 Matheson?
I mean, a ton. We've got such a great crew here working hard, you know. We showed up and the car was great off the bat, and we woke up Saturday morning and knew that they'd made some changes and it was better. But it's all about leaning on the experience that Tim, Andy, Bobby, all these guys bring from every race they've done over the years and all the championships they've won, like you've said. So it's been fun.
Hey, you're still in this championship fight. Good luck the rest of today.
Thank you. Thank you.
Porsche Adam down there with Nick Bull. That was a brilliant first stint from him, Jeremy. And there's a heck of a battle going on at the front of GTD Pro now, as Harry Tincknell, having cleared Tommy Milner, who was a couple of seconds behind Alexander Sims, has now scuttled off up the road to pretty much a second. He's halved that deficit, although Tommy Milner is coming back a little bit as well. But we've got a three-way fight at GTD Pro late.
Absolutely, we have there, yes, and closing up on them are two more LMP2 cars. Joao Barbosa in number 33 car with Ryan DL hot on his heels in the caliber 18. They're about to catch, or probably have caught by now, those three cars battling for the lead in GTD Pro. Great to see their as you said a few minutes ago, classic Corvette versus Chevrolet versus Ford here, and that's quite a tussle. That Harry Tincknell Ford is looking very, very strong.
Just trying to work out who it is who's right in front of Alexander Sims. It's another GT car, and I can't quite make out who it is, but you're spot on with the 0-4 in that battle as well, actually, the CrowdStrike machine, as they are now heading to the end of the lap as they are coming through. It is the Wayne Taylor Lamborghini that's right there. 33 Sean Creech car, Joao Barbosa coming through the battle for the lead as well, being followed through by Ryan DL, as Jeremy said, the blue era car going through the exit turn 1, and Alexander Sims is struggling to get by that Lamborghini, the number 45 car, as they plunge down to the bottom of the hill at Clayton Corner, and this is costing him time here. A 1:17.0 last time around. Harry Tincknell closing in, but the P2's going by. He's just split them for a moment, but Tincknell's got target acquired now, with the top three in GTD Pro together behind that number 45 dark grey, black Danny 4 mile driven Wayne Taylor Racing Lamborghini Huracan. Now he's already, well, he's not off the lead lap in his part of GTD, but he is off the lead GT lap, if that makes sense. I think it looks like Alex Sims is going to go through at the end of the Mario Andretti straight. Yes, it is. And Formal is indicating to say that he's going into the pits, I think. No, he's got his right-hand indicator on. Well, thank goodness that Harry Tincknell didn't take that as red. That's a confusing signal. And Wayne Taylor Racing with Andretti Global need to be on the radio to Danny Formal. His right-hand flasher is on at the moment, but he's not staying to the right-hand side of the track, and that is a huge moment for the battle in GTD Pro for Alex Sims, because he's cleared off now, Jeremy, and put a good couple of seconds into Harry Tincknell, who had caught him.
Yeah, indeed, that's certainly a good move there by Alexander Sims, give himself a little bit of breathing room, but this forward clearly is working well. They made big strides with this car last time out at Watkins Glen. They also had a bit of a help from the balance of performance, got a bit more slightly larger engine air restrictor, allows more air into the engine, therefore more power. Also, they're just steadily improving this car. It's a brand new car, of course, for this season, and all those things together have bring this car more toward the front end of the field, and this is the best run yet for sure for this number 64 car and the full Multimatic Motorsports team in general.
Good battle for LMP2, 8th and 9th, by the way, as well, with Colin Brown and Renger van der Zande getting close together, and they're trying to chase down Pipo Derani and Louis Delatraz ahead of them. Also in the pit lane as well is the Manny Franco-driven Conquest Racing Ferrari 296. Adam is on a proud strike pit lane corner.
It's been fuel tires and a driver change. A very good recovery by the front tire changer, who actually tripped coming around the front of the car. Thankfully was wearing knee pads and just went down on his knees, so no harm, no foul there. But that is a driver change, so it's Albert Costa Balboa until the end of this race. Again, a rookie to racing at CCMP, making his debut.
Laps being ticked off thick and fast here, with the top cars lapping around about 1 minute 12, 1 minute 30. Scott Huffaker took pretty much a couple of seconds out the leader last time around, but it's the old adage now, because Tom Dillman is in the GT3 battle, and traffic giveth and traffic taketh away. Here comes Harry Tinknell on Danny Formal in the number 45 Lamborghini, 1 lap after the leader has gone through. He has gone through 2.5 miles later, and what does that mean to the gap? 2.5 seconds, Jeremy. Alexander Sims took out a Harry last time around.
Wow. Yeah, and certainly I'm surprised that the Lamborghini is struggling so much here, because the car was quicker earlier on, and they've Danny Formal clearly doesn't have the same pace as those other pro cars, and he's at the back of the field in his car. So he hasn't been lapped by the regular GTD, which is now Spencer Puppelli in car number 27, who's just got past Patrick Gallagher. Where is Patrick Gallagher? He's at the 4th position, so he's
had a spin.
On that. Yes, okay.
He had a spin at turn 9, Jeremy, at to the end of the S's, and has recovered. But that number 96 BMW has dropped down through the field for the Liqui Moly Turner BMW.
He was right behind number 65 car of Joey Hand. That wasn't a battle for class position, because Patrick was leading the class, but he was kind of bottled up, I think, behind Joey Hand. So whether that was a factor there, I don't know.
Excuse me, it was turn 5 that Patrick Gallagher spun off. It was the number 99 that went off at turn 9 and continued. And that's significant. The AO machine, and see what that's done to that particular car's position on the track. So 2 little whoopsies on that last lap. Louis Delatraz now just a couple of seconds ahead of Colin Brown. He's lost 10 seconds in that little off. He's about 13 seconds ahead of the Colin Brown Renger van der Zande battle, and now it's down to just under 3.
Yeah, those 3 cars, number 048 and 88, they've all switched positions, because Pipo Derani lost a couple of positions to Colin Brown and Renger van der Zande on that last lap. So he's Pipo Derani now in at number 88 car, down to 9th position.
The Oregon number 74 from Riley, Felipe Farraga, was right there when Patrick Gallagher spun. Impossible for me to tell you whether there was contact there, but I have no doubt that if there was, Patrick will be on the phone to the pits to let them know. I'm not seeing anything being passed to race control just at the moment. Let's give you a quick in-race update with another 15 minutes gone. An hour and 12 minutes still remain. Tom Dillman behind the wheel of the leading Inter Europol Orica, the number 52 yellow and green car, has a comfortable 6.2 seconds lead. It's 7.2 seconds from TDS in second. Scott Huffaker in the number 11. That's the bright highlighter yellow car. And Ben Hanley in the wins United Motorsport USA number 2. He's got just a second on Philippe Albuquerque's teammate. They swapped over during the last pit stop, which was round about 35 or so laps ago. Seems like 2 minutes ago. Felipe Fraga is next up for Riley in that number 74, the bright orange and blue car. Now this is Louis Delatraz for AO Racing after a little spin, a little off-track excursion in turn number 9 through the S's there at the end of the lap. He dumped about 10 seconds, which means that Colin Brown in the 04 CrowdStrike cybersecurity car, CrowdStrike racing car, is now a lot closer, 2 seconds away, and Renger van der Zander's there as well for Tower Motorsports, the number 8 orange and white car. Top 10 made up by Pete Durrani for Richard Millet, of course, number 88, red and black. Ryan DL Era Motorsport, number 18, 23 seconds further back for that car. And Joao Barbosa, now just 10 seconds behind Ryan in the Jean Prix Motorsports, the only Ligier in the field, the 33 stars, stripes and maple leaf livery on that car. In GTD Pro, the top 8 are all on the same lead lap, and Alexander Sims is the leader for Chevrolet Corvette, and he's now consolidated that lead that he picked up in traffic when he managed to make the pass on the number 45 Lamborghini Huracan. It's out to nearly 3 seconds now to Harry Tinknell, who's got his own issues because Tommy Milner's closed back up in the second of the Corvette. So 3, 64 and 4, Corvette, Ford and Corvette. The Corvette's the red, the Ford very much meet in the sandwich there. Then it's AO Racing, another 3.5 seconds further back for Lauren Heinrich in the number 77 green Porsche. Vassar Sullivan, Jack Hawksworth. Lexus not really been a feature today, which I'm a bit surprised at. Jack Hawksworth in the 14 car is another 5 seconds further back, 4.5 seconds further back. Then Harter Racing's Aston Martin with Ross Gunn, the 23, right on the Vassar Sullivan Lexus tail. And another second further back, Marvin Kirchhoffer for the McLaren of Pfaff Motorsport, and Ford Multimatic with Joey Hand is another 6 seconds further back. That's your top 8 in GTD Pro. In GTD, in 20th position in the general classification, Heart of Racing has a lead of 2.5 seconds for the Aston Martin number 27 over Russell Ward. Again, stealthily, under cover of darkness. I don't know how they keep doing it, but they do. The 57 Winwood Racing Mercedes in second with a 5-second gap back to Mick Grenier in the bright blue Court of Preston car. That's the number 32, and the top 6 is Pat Gallagher, even after that spin for BMW. That surely can't be right. Dropped down to 4th position, has he? And is still at 30 seconds ahead of Gianmarco Leverato for Proton Mustang 55, which had the clutch problems earlier in the week. In fact, Frederick Schandorf has just gone by for Inception Racing in the black and red number 70 McLaren, and that means the Proton is now in 6th position, the Proton Ford Mustang. That's your in-race update with VP Racing. An hour and 8 minutes still to go. Jeremy Shaw.
Yeah, fascinating race right now. Certainly Tom Dillman doing a really nice job at the head of the field. Extended his lead over seven seconds now over Scott Huffick. I mean, that's eked out only a tenth or two here and there, running very similar pace, those two leaders. Just kind of the gap ebbs and flows according to the traffic they encounter around each lap. Ben Hanley, a similar distance back in 3rd position. Again, that gap is staying fairly constant. And the 2 United Autosports USA entries, number 2 and 22, together again on the racetrack, battling now for 3rd position. Ben Hanley just ahead of Philip Albuquerque. And closing in on both of those two, just gradually, is Felipe Fraga in the Riley car number 74.
So settling into this middle part of the race still to come this Sunday. We have Michelin post-race tech, hashtag Michelin PRT at IMSA Radio if you'd like to get in touch with us. Whether you're listening on Sirius 206, 90.7 at the track, CTMP FM, and RS2 around the world. Or maybe you're watching on the video player at imsaradio.com or imsa.tv. Good to have your company, however you are spending time with us this Sunday afternoon. Can't have a massively long Michelin PRT because we do have a Mazda race to finish off our Chevrolet Grand Prix weekend here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. So have a think about what you might want to throw in the mix for discussion at the end of this race. We'll also be looking at our BDO Nose Strategy Awards. One nomination from the field. Go on, Jeremy.
Tell you what, John, this race has been a real struggle for people this whole weekend, a real struggle for Pipo Derani. I mean, he's in the 9th position in that Richard Mille AF Corsa entry. That's the car that won last time out. We heard the team say before the start that they didn't test here, but still, I'm surprised. I mean, he was PJ Hyatt, who's not a pro driver, was quicker than Pipo in all the practice sessions, and pretty much the same here as well. It's been a real struggle for that team down in 9th position.
Yeah, and it's not as if, I mean, Pipo started his career in the LMP2 category. In fact, the first time I met Pipo was at Paul Ricard's for a WEC Prologue test couple of days, and he was very excited about being in P2, and I was substantially bigger than I even am now by about 25 kilos, and he did say, oh no, it's really comfortable, why don't you get in the car and have a try and see how it feels? And I said, Pipo, that's very kind of you, I love your optimism, I could probably get in, but you would need a probably a chainsaw and some liquid soap to get me out. You'd have to cut the car to bits. Pit stops. McLaren is in the pit lane. Looked like full service. And who else was in there as well? It was Ross Gunn, Heart of Racing team. So Marvin Kerschoffer and Ross Gunn for the 23 Heart of Racing. That's 2 GTD Pro cars coming in for a stop. Now, I don't think they can go to the end from here, Jeremy. 65 minutes or thereabouts.
Yeah, 65 minutes, it's right on the limit, but they reckon they can get to the end from here. They're the first of the GTD cars to pit. Number 14 car in as well this time around. Yeah, 64 minutes, that's the upper limit, and a bit of caution would be nice, but that's why they're making their pit stop right now. They were 4th, 5th and 6th in the class, and they're making those pit stops now.
Tommy Miller's coming out of 3rd. Also Jax Hawksworth for Vassar Sullivan out of what was, I think, 5th position. And there's another car that came in as well there that I didn't quite see. I think that was the 64 of Harry Tinknell as well that came into the pit lane. Yes, it was. And that was fuel tyres and driver, I think, for all of those. I'll tell you as they go back out. Yes, Nicky Katzberg now in Corvette number 4. Mike Rockenfeller, Rocky in the 64, has taken over from Harry. And it is Ben Barnicott in the Vassar Sullivan number 14. So, Jeremy, they're covering off what we saw the previous lap. And Lauren Heinrich comes in out of 2nd place for AO Racing Porsche to do that same pit stop. Alexander Sims is exposed now if there was to be a full course yellow.
He is. I would imagine he would be coming onto the pit lane pretty shortly just to cover that off. But certainly, no problem for any of these GT cars to get to the end from here. Number 1 car also in the pit lane, but of course that's a long way down, having served that penalty earlier on.
In and out for the number 1 Paul Miller racing car, and that is still Brian Sellers at the wheel of that car as he goes back out into the fight, waiting for Rexy to get back under it. Fuel, tyres and a driver for the 96 BMW. Patrick Gallagher climbing out. Seat above comment for the number 65 as Joey Hand relinquishes his Ford Mustang, and that car goes back out. So Lauren Heinrich leaves for AO Racing, so he stayed in that car. Seb Prior did the first stint. And here is the leader. Alexander Sims comes in. Now this is going to be a crucial stop. It'll be a full service and a change of driver for Pratt Miller and Corvette. Reset of Michelin tyres. Are they brand new? Yes, they are unscrubbed. So the leader, and then we need to keep an eye open for Nicky Katzberg in the number 4 as to where that car is on the circuit. There should be time to get this car out, 23 seconds. It's been stationary, waiting for the fuel to go in. The last drops of VP Racing. And the engine starts and it leaves. That's a really good pit stop. It was all about the fuel. The fuel should always be the determining factor for those pit stops. Caught off in as well with the 32 AMG. And that will be full service as well. I think I saw Russell Ward in the pit as well. Yes, I did. The number 57, Winwood Racing, came in out of second position. Spencer Pumpelly for Harter Racing, Aston Martin, the leader in GTD, yet to pit on this cycle. Antonio Garcia, he's back out in what was the leading Corvette. The growl that you probably heard behind me there, that was the low rumble of the Mercedes going back into the fight with Phil Ellis behind the wheel of the Winwood Racing number 57. We'll give you an update on where everybody is in the GT categories there. Come back around as Spencer Pumpelly now comes in the pit lane for Aston Martin in the number 27 car.
From the lead.
Yes, indeed so. Where he had been before this pit lane cycle, Jeremy. So if it all goes all right, and those are the air guns, the rattle guns for the single centre lock wheel nut of Harter Racing that you can hear in the background. Driver change going on at the moment. That all looks pretty relaxed. Never looks like they're hurrying. Everything's just done at the right pace. The car is ready to go as soon as the fuel hose comes out, which it does. It does. Now, and the Aston Martin engine powers the car with a big slide from the, well, still on the pit lane speed limit. Roman De Angelis, the Canadian driver, trying to get some heat into the brand new Michelin tyres. He must feel as though he may have to defend at the front of the field. He's down through turn number 2. And who's he got out ahead of in terms of the GT cars? Well, he's still ahead of the 57, Phil Ellis. I think it's Frankie Montecalvo who's in second for Lexus, but he's got a pit, surely. Yes, he's just come into the pit. So Harter Racing, I reckon, has held on to the lead in GTD, and Corvette have gone back to being first and second in GTD Pro, Jeremy, with AO Racing up to third and Lauren Heinrich, and the Ford that was in second briefly has dropped back down into fourth place. Mike Rockefeller with some work to do.
Yeah, indeed. So that's disappointing for the Ford team. They're just losing a little bit of ground during that round of pit stops. Their number 77 car, really good run once again for AO Racing, leaping ahead there. And meanwhile, you know, it's been a great run for the Harter Racing team at the moment. He's got a pretty handy lead, I think, over. Yep, okay, number 12 car's just been in the pits as well. So we'll have to wait and see how those two cycle out in GTD. But it's still certainly Roman De Angelis still leads over Phil Ellis, just come past in second position. Meanwhile, up in LMP2, Felipe Fraga has caught those, well, at least one of the two United Autosports cars. Just got past Philip Albuquerque last time around, so Albuquerque must have had something to cost him quite a bit of ground. He was about 3 or 4 seconds ahead of him. That's gone away, and now Fraga up into fourth position in car number 74.
Let's get a word with some of the drivers who've been plying their trade in that middle portion of the race. We are under 1 hour to go in the Chevrolet Grand Prix. Shea Adam is our CrowdStrike pit lane reporter.
With Tommy Milner fresh out of the Ford Corvette. Tommy, you were getting some great battling in there, pressure from people behind and front. Is that exactly the kind of motor racing that you come to the States for?
100%. Great racetrack here at CTMP. Amazing competition in this class. Just a lot of fun out there driving this Corvette right now. So I think we're okay. The 3 car looks a little bit quicker than us, maybe over a lap. I think we have a pretty good car and a longer run. So we'll see how it goes here, but we'd love to chase our teammates, but I think we're looking in the mirror a little bit harder right now.
So no team orders going forward between the two, or do you want a Corvette 1-2?
I mean, it's business as usual at Corvette racing. We're allowed to race as long as there's no contact. So, the main goal here is to hopefully get a win today. It's not going to be easy for sure. The Ford is quick. Lauren and the Porsche is quite quick as well. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, certainly the goal here is to get a Corvette win if we can. But that doesn't mean that we can't race either.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Dints, 10 laps of yellow in them. Alexander Sims did almost 75 minutes before he peeled in from the lead in the number 3 Corvette. Antonio Garcia having taken that over. But as I say, two 5-lap stints of yellow in that. Even so, that was still pretty good, but they'll be wanting to go. I understand why they pushed as long as they could, Jeremy, because they'll want to go full rich to the end if it stays green, and they should, I reckon, just be able to do that. Might need a tiny little bit of fuel saving, but I don't think it'll be very much. So every half second on the track at the moment, and that 4.7 second gap between Antonio Garcia and Nicky Katzberg, that's manna from heaven at the moment. And then another 4 seconds back to Lauren Heinrich. So not soft pedaling by any stretch of the imagination, but at least with those gaps you can start to manage your own race, Jeremy.
Absolutely right. Inside, well, just about 55 minutes of racing remaining, and as you say, all of a sudden it seems like those top cars in GTD Pro are all spread out just a little bit, and all of the GTD Pro cars now ahead of the GTDs, other than the earlier penalised car number 1, which is still kind of working his way through. Brian Sellers in that car, but as the race leader in GTD Pro puts a lap on Manny Franco, or is Albert Costa Balboa now driving of that number 34 Conquest Ferrari in 7th place in GTD. Meanwhile, up front, Philip Albuquerque all of a sudden is struggling, it would appear, because he's lost quite a lot of ground, particularly to his teammate Ben Hanley over the course of the last 5 or 6 laps. He was right with him, and all of a sudden now he's about 7 or 8 seconds behind him.
Yeah, that's an odd one. United Autosports, the car swap round during the last pit stop cycle when Ben Hanley got out ahead of Philippe Albuquerque just on the refueling. Might be worth CrowdStrike pit lane reporter Shad going and having a word with Gary Robertshaw, who's head of LMP2 engineering for United Autosports. I'm sure he'll be here this weekend, but Felipe Fraga splitting those 2 cars, as Jeremy reported, and that seemed to me just to be a couple of 3 laps ago. It's probably more than that, but now has pulled 4 seconds on Albuquerque. Philippe's times, well, last time around, of course, he does a 10.2, which is faster than everybody ahead of him bar the 2 leaders. But yeah, there's something not quite right to me there. When were they last into the pit lane? They will absolutely need to have another stop before the end. These P2 cars now have a very small fuel capacity, and so we'll be seeing those cars in again before the end of the race. Let's head down to Spencer Pumpelly from Harter Racing and Aston Martin. Adam.
Yeah, Spencer Pumpelly pushing really hard for a win here with Harter Racing. They're getting their money's worth out of you. They hire you for the weekend and then they leave you in the car the majority of the race. How good is the Aston Martin that Roman's out there right now?
He's got a really good car. I remember back in the day they let the old guy start for a little bit and let the young kid do the whole race. But now the car was really good. It's easy to drive. The guys at Harter Racing just did an awesome job. They unloaded well. We made it a little bit better, but I was pretty happy with how it performed. It's not the fastest on the back straight, so sometimes you get stuck behind some cars that were slower, but you couldn't get by. But over the course of the run, I thought we were really good. And Roman's got a good car. he's the guy right now. I'm relaxed. I know how this is going to end because he's the man.
Yeah, hometown advantage. I mean, you'd have to be pretty hard-pressed to beat Roman DeAngelis at CTMP, right?
Yeah, exactly. I have to say the 3 races I've done with him now, I've been really impressed with him. He's actually taught this old guy a couple of things, looking at his data, seeing how he drives the car a little differently than some of the other people. And, some of it works well for me, and I've used it to go faster. So big shout out to him. You can teach an old dog new tricks sometimes. And, now I'm just a spectator enjoying the show here Rome's putting on.
You say old guy, you're not that old, Spence, and you still know how to win races. Good luck getting that done today.
Yeah, thank you, appreciate it.
Yeah, good start for that car. Drafted in because of a number of driver changes throughout the field. With the FIA World Endurance Championship the same weekend in Interlagos. Actually, IMSA WeatherTech team taking part in the WEC tyre test at Corda next week. Team RLL taking their BMW GTP car to Circuit of the Americas. BMW utilising the car that's over here. The team that's over here. There will be, I'm told, some WRT staff on hand as well. Ferrari and a couple of others testing down there. One of the days is a WEC Michelin tyre test. Ferrari booked the other day, booked other couple of days, so but they've left it open. So if you're around about the Circuit of the Americas, opportunity next week to go and watch a bit of GTP action.
John, I've now figured out why number 74 car stayed out longer than everybody else on that last stint. The reason is fuel consumption. We're seeing now on this lap number 04 and the number 8 car coming into the pits. 50 minutes remaining. They can't do 50 minutes. That's why there's been some fuel save going on here amongst the LMP2 cars. And the number 74 car stayed out several laps longer. 3 laps longer than both of the United Autosports cars, which are the next earliest to pit on that last sequence. So this is looking the way now. The Riley Motorsports car is running in 4th position now. He's 18 seconds behind, which is quite a long way. But Tom Dillman needs to stretch his fuel load another 3 or 4 laps, which I think is going to be a struggle for him in that leading into Europol by PR1 car.
One of the stories of the GTD race has been the rise and rise of Winward Racing. Philip Ellis in 2nd place. That's where he took the car over after a great first stint from Russell Ward, who we will talk to in this CrowdStrike pit lane report.
Russell, that opening stint was a little bit longer than I'd imagine you planned first thing this morning. Just how difficult was it in the Mercedes to keep a cool head in these warm conditions?
Yeah, honestly, I mean, the guys put a great car together, and actually we're really, really competitive over the long stint, and I think that's probably the best case scenario that we could have had. Extend the first stint really long and then come in and do it in a single stop. So it actually felt pretty nice. As a little bit of understeer in the car, but as the stint went on, it felt better and better and better, and just a pleasure to be able to do that many laps around here.
Are your crew guys a little better rested today than they normally are after having the pilot race yesterday?
Yeah, they are. I mean, they're excited, man. I mean, they do such an amazing job, and I mean, the pit stop was just amazing, and so they're really on it, and we've got such momentum this year, and it's looking like we can be on the podium this race, and so fingers crossed.
Yeah, that's why I was asking. They look like they were a little bit extra fired up for normal pit stops. Now, you've won 4 races this year. They were all 4 races that you DNF'd last year. You didn't DNF this one. Any chance you can break that streak?
Yeah, I mean, it's just payback. We've had a lot of luck this year, and it's just payback for the previous years we had. And, honestly, Philip's doing an amazing job out there, and I know he can bring it home at least where it stands, and hopefully we can catch Roman and bring it home on the top step.
Good luck, Russ.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
This is 90.7 FM around the circuits, RS2 around the world, and Sirius 206. And we're in sound and vision at IMSA.tv and on the video player at IMSARadio.com. Hello, everybody. Welcome along to what is shaping up to be an outstanding last 47 minutes of the Chevrolet Grand Prix IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship north of the border in Canada at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park this weekend in the Ford Performance Global Broadcast Centre. It's Jeremy Shaw and me, John Hindhaugh. You've just heard our CrowdStrike pit lane reporter, Shea Adam, with Russell Ward. That's another good run for the Winward team. Jeremy going about their business quietly, not too flashily. I mean, I don't think we mentioned their name until they were up to third position in the early part of the race.
Yeah, remarkable really, and they're a long way behind, 13 seconds behind the Harter Racing Aston, but they won't worry about that. It'd be more great championship points. I mean, they've had just a fantastic season so far with 4 wins from 5 races. A couple of them, they certainly had some good fortune, particularly last time out at Watkins Glen, but hey, look, you make your fortune, don't you? And they've done a fabulous job this season. Once again, another really good run for that team. And the other, I mean, the Mercedes, I think they've been struggling a little bit this weekend relative to some of the other cars in terms of outright pace, but they've got the consistency. And that is what has helped those 2 Mercedes, with Winward Racing in 2nd position and Courtauld Preston in 3rd with Mike Skeen.
Through the pit lane, AO Racing and Louis Delatraz. Shea Adam, is this going to be the last stop? It's going to be tight for them if they are.
Oh yeah, that's the plan. We've got a lot of LMP2 teams up on the wall as well. The 11, that was Stephen Thomas who started that car. Scott Hopfaker, who jumped in
the car. And the Swiss driver with the white cross on the side of his helmet staying in the machine as it heads back out onto the track, followed in immediately by the leader. So they either have to come in now, Jeremy, or they do reckon that they can do the 45 minutes that remains.
Yeah, I think 45 is okay. It's those other guys a little while ago that I'm worried about in terms of their fuel consumption, the 04 and the 08 in particular. They've come out together, by the way, together again on the racetrack. Colin Brown ahead of Rego van der Zande, so that's going to be fun to watch, but I don't think they're going to be into contention to win. But Tom Dillman has done a fabulous job in that stint. Scott Hopfaker stays out 1 more lap, and I'm sure he will see the number 11 car into the pits next time around.
Shea Adam is watching the stops.
Fuel and tires for Tom Dillman and fuel and tires for Philippe Albuquerque, but they're giving Philippe a new drinks bottle as well. So maybe they put something extra special in there to make him drive just that little bit faster. Scott Hupfinger should be in this time around. Fuel and sticker tires going on the 11 TDS Racing Orica.
Here comes number 11 there for its pit stop, set up 1 lap longer, number 52 car. Tom Dillman, in fact, set the new fastest lap of the race just a couple of laps before coming onto pit lane.
And that's a brand new set of Michelin tyres there for Scott Hupfaker. And Ben Hanley's going to get fuel and tyres too. And are they brand new? Yes, they are. There's a nice little sheen on it. So, you don't want to be the first. Sometimes you don't want to be the first one to stop. If you get a full course yellow, then clearly that's the safe way of doing it. Out goes the number 11, and the TDS racing car is back in the fight. And that was the Gibson V8 of the wins. Number 2 from United Autosport, also in the number 88 Peter Durrani driven Richard Mille, 42 seconds back from the lead as it came into the pit lane. It's a little bit more than that actually. They've done their pit stop very nicely. They're just waiting for the fuel. They're going to give people a clear view of the road ahead by taking, it's not even the last of the tear-offs off the screen. Car is back on the ground, still waiting for fuel. They're going to fill it with VP Racing. And there he goes. So Jeremy, we reckon now then that that's everybody fueled to the end bar Felipe Fraga?
Correct. Who will need a much shorter stop when he finally comes into the pit lane, so they're looking for an opportunity to leapfrog the number 2 car possibly. I think the other two are going to be not close enough for him to catch, but that was a great stint by Tom Dillman. Set a new fastest lap of the race on lap 82. That's before he made that last pit stop, and I think he should have no problems against the end from here. A little bit farther back in the number 88 car, by the way, yeah, he was 42 seconds behind when he came in, but that was after the other leaders already been in the pit lane. So number 88, Pipo Durrani, was in 7th position, and not far short. But he was still on the lead lap, as was number 18 car Ryan Dial, but only just.
Yeah, it's now only the top 5 that are on the lead lap until Felipe Fraga comes into the pit lane. So he's got a 42-second lead to Tom Dillman. And from the radio chatter, it sounds like they are going to stay out with that number 74 Orica, and they are betting then on that case that there's going to be a full course yellow. I mean, last time around he did a 12, which is all right because he was in traffic. He's got some clear track for a little bit. So Felipe Fraga and Riley, the number 74 team, in that lead Orica at the front of the race, as he was just coming round to the end of the lap. And he is, that team then, Jeremy, basically saying, look, we'd rather give this a go to win the whole thing outright than just to take what we would get if we came into the pits with everybody else. And of course, as I say that, does he come into the pit lane? Yes, of course he does. So the radio chatter perhaps not quite what I was expecting them to do. So this will be full service. That looked like scuffed tyres going on to the 74. Let's look at the rear Michelin. Yeah, they are very lightly used tyres. So that's interesting. We've got just 39, call it 40 at the moment, minutes to go. And we're waiting for VP Fuel to fill it up. And out goes Felipe Fraga. He had 42 seconds on Tom Dillman before he came into the pit lane.
Yeah, we shouldn't have been enough.
No.
So I think, unfortunately, our scoring is locked up again. But that was lap 85 that number 74 the car came into the pit lane with about 40 minutes remaining in the race. So the question is he ahead of the number 11 or number 2 that were running in the 2nd and 3rd positions?
Just apologies for problems if you are trying to follow along on the internet on timing and scoring. There are some local difficulties at the track that is preventing information from coming out. And again, our hard-working colleagues at Al Kamel and IMSA Technical, side-by-side contact. They're working on that side-by-side contact between the number 66 Gradient NSX, currently Stephen McAleer, and that is for position. Corey Lewis was the little thud that you heard from the number 55 Proton Ford Mustang. Corey seems to be struggling with rear grip on that car as they came out of turn 6 and head onto the Mario Andretti straight. So
yeah,
for the moment, we'll tell you what we can see into the pit lane, Jeremy, for the number 86 Anders Fjordbach MDK Motorsports Porsche, the yellow and red car. Was running as high as 5th in GT.
Fourth actually. Just now he comes into the pit lane. Excuse me, 5th. You're absolutely right. 27 cars way out in front, isn't he? There was a change for 3rd position a lap or 2 ago, however, with Robbie Foley getting past Mike Skeen. So number 96 Taylor Motorsport BMW, having had that spin earlier on, is now back up into a podium slot. So that's a good recovery by, first of all, Patrick Gallagher and now Robbie Foley, who's taken that car to the checkered flag.
Felipe Fraga in and out of the pit lane. Unfortunately, I can't tell you where he's rejoined at the moment. I'll try and get a visual the next time they come past the start-finish line. Tom Dillman back in the lead of the motor race and was leading by about 10 seconds over Scott Huffaker when they had completed what we expect to be their final pit stops. And Tom's clearly got a very fast Oregon underneath him, having done a 108.8 earlier in his stint.
Yeah, right before his pit stop that was, John, and I think the number 74 car should be in third position at least, but unfortunately we are taking a look at that at the moment.
So the countdown continues to the checkered flag, which ends the race but starts the conversation. Michelin Post Race Tech, hashtag Michelin PRT to @IMSA Radio. If you'd like to form the show, the original user-influenced radio show. We'll have that after the formalities. Hopefully having a word with the winners and giving you the championship standings after the Chevrolet Grand Prix here for the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship. Still plenty of racing to come in the IMSA Championship with Road America, VIR, the long race at Indianapolis, and then of course Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta for Matul Petit-Le-Mans, the end of the season. Pipo Derani continues to struggle. Jeremy Shaw just got a quick flash of him going by just in front of the leader.
Yeah, that's right, John. It's been a difficult day for that Richard Mill AF Corsa team, and we just got a glimpse of him going out of camera shot as we were watching the number 65 car, which is running 8th in GTD Pro, as the number 11 car goes past. So I think he is probably still in second position. Number 11 car should be, certainly, I reckon. And then if we can hold that camera shot, we'll see whether the number 74 car is next in line. Unfortunately, we don't. So, sorry, can't help you much here with no scoring. But number 6, yeah, it's been a really good day once again for that Ford Multimatic Motorsports team. Might have lost that podium position overall in GTD Pro, but Mike Rockenfeller hanging on there, I think in 4th position ahead of the number 23 car of Ross Gunn, who's taken over from Mario Farnbacher. So Dillman there working his way through the traffic here, heavy traffic it is amongst those GT cars, and Pipo Derani able to stay ahead of him on the racetrack, so hasn't yet lost a lap. Oh dear me, that's Costa Balboa giving, oh yeah, it wasn't, it was the number 9, Oliver Jarvis, who's in, I think, 6th position in GTD Pro, pushing the number 52 car, the race leader, very wide at turn 1. It's kind of curious. It's allowed, I think, Scott Huffaker to get a good bit closer. Comes still, yeah. There's a couple of GT cars between the race leader and the number 11 car, Scott Huffaker, as they head into turn 5 there, Moss Corner, turn 5 and 5A, with even the clock's not gone down now. Goodness gracious.
33 minutes to go. 32.49
okay.
Still to
good.
run, or thereabouts. And I have my timer. One of the things that Charles Dressing had a countdown and a count-up timer always on the
That's
clock.
the one
So
thing
just
that
over
is
half
working.
an hour to go.
That's the one thing he is working on one of my scoring. I've got 3 different scoring
There you go.
systems going here, but none of them are working other than the timer, which, as you say, 32 minutes remaining.
Yeah, and again, apologies if you're trying to follow along. I know that some of the PRs who aren't at the track are having the same problems. This is an issue. There is some weather in the area of the track, which I haven't mentioned till now, but that may be having effect on the internet provision in the local area. We're still nice and sunshiny with an air temperature of 30 Celsius, track temperature 48 at the moment, which is 118 Fahrenheit. That's toasty for the Michelin tyres. And rest assured that everybody at IMSA Technical is working hard. Problems for Lexus number 14. Ben Barnicat moving slowly on the Mario Andretti straight. This was the car that was right up at the sharp end in qualifying, and it is touring back to the pit lane. And Control-Alt-Delete, maybe. I'm looking. He's running into, staying off the racing line. Nicely done. I don't see any issues with the tyres, and he's pulling the car up. He's not going to get it. There's steam coming out from underneath the engine compartment at the front of the car. He's not going to get it back to the pits. He's only 2 corners from home, so the team must have told him to park it. He's done it at one of the overlaps, which is marked by the orange ends on the walls, so that's smart movement. He could have pulled it in. If he was going to do that, could have pulled it in forwards. 30 minutes to go, and can we move that car under double yellows? That's the question. The other question with Shea Adam telling me that it is an engine problem for that car, so maybe it wouldn't have even got to the pit lane. And Ben Barnicat is out of the car and has a quick check with the marshals, who immediately throw him down a cold bottle of water. Oh, I love our corner workers and flaggers. He's walking up into the shade underneath, and basically he's telling them what's going on, so they'll know if it can be flat-towed. Not locked in gear. I've kicked it into neutral, but there's no motive power. Thanks for the water. I'm walking back to the pits. Basically is how that went.
Yeah, and from the angle we looked at it, the car looked in a pretty dodgy location, but I think he's kind of round the corner of the wall there.
Yeah,
I think
you're right.
it's going to be all right, John. And what a shame, though, for that team. And we heard them say earlier on they don't have a lot of luck here, and again, no luck at all today. That's the car that lies second in the championship coming into this weekend, defending series champions as well. But it's not a good day once again here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park for Vasser Sullivan Racing.
From the team, they obviously don't know the exact cause of the issue. Until they get the car back, they'll have to do what they've described as an autopsy. Ben Barnicat removes his racing helmet and hands device. And now, is he going back to the car, or is he going back to the pits? No, he's behind the wall. In fact, he's going back to the marshal stand that he was at earlier on. We're still under green as far as I can see at the moment. Big crowd here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park this weekend. Thanks to all of you who have turned out. 90.7 is CTMP FM, RS2 and Sirius 206 for the audio for everybody. And of course, outside of the United States, we've also got the international TV feed via the live video button at imsaradio.com and imsa.com/live, imsa.tv. So as we head towards the final 27 minutes, Felipe Fraga, Tom Tillman still out front. Antonio Garcia pedaling the leading GTD Pro car, just being passed by Ben Handley. Ben has Felipe Albuquerque's teammate behind him. It's Corvettes 1 and 2 in GTD Pro 3 from 4. Then the number 77 of Lauren Heinrich with Mike Rockenfeller hoving into view again there behind Rexy, the number 77. It was out as far as a couple of seconds. I don't think it's that now, as Lauren is heading up to Moss Corner. Now it's about 2 car lengths, not 2 seconds, if that. And it's a nice close battle for the third step of the box on GTD Pro's podium. Down the Mario Andretti straight, these 2 cars.
And, the scoring back up again now, so the number 74 car did not do enough to leapfrog the number 2 car, Ben Hanley, so he remains in 4th position, only 3.5 seconds behind him, so he's actually not gained at all, even with that late stop and being able to run flat out quite comfortably to the finish. But up at the front of the field, all of a sudden we got some interest here, because Scott Huffaker, as a result, I think, of that traffic for Tom Dillman, has closed that gap now down to less than 2 seconds between the race leading number 52 and Scott Huffaker in number 11. And Ben Hanley in 3rd position just turned his best lap of the race, and he's only about 5 seconds behind in 3rd right now.
Great battle going on for 6 with Louis Delatraz, who's got Colin Brown right on his tail at the moment, and behind them Rega van der Zande going up to Moss Corner now. They're going around Lauren Heinrich, the 3rd place car in GTD Pro. That was all nicely done by, well, actually 5 very experienced drivers, because you can add Mike Rockenfeller into that. Potential for disaster there for any one of those cars. Then I think it's Ryan DL about to do the same thing, is it? And for Era Motorsport, no, he's a little bit further back. It's the Sean Creech car actually that's coming through, but they're a lap or 2 off the lead in LMP2. So heading into the last 25 minutes now, and still the battle for 3rd position in GTD Pro. We quickly run through what's happening elsewhere. Jeremy told you the first 2. Into Europol 52 from TDS number 11, green and yellow from highlighter yellow. 7/10 of a second now between the battle for the lead. 5 seconds further back, Ben Hanley for United Autosports in the number 2. That's the Wins car. He's got 2 seconds on Felipe Fraga for Riley in the 74. That's where they drop back into, as Jeremy mentioned. They've got 13 seconds on the 22 with Philippe Albuquerque, who's got 8 seconds on Louis Delatraz for Spike the Purple Dragon. That's number 99. 3/10 back to Colin Brown. 4/10 back to Ranga van der Zande. That's that battle for 6th, 7th and 8th I was talking about. Ryan DL in 9th for Era in the blue number 18. Peter Tarani in the 88 must have dropped off the lead lap. In GTD Pro, Corvette, 3 from 4, 6.5 seconds between Antonio Garcia and Nicky Katzberg, with Lauren Heinrich 9 seconds further back, and Mike Rockenfeller basically in the trunk of the Porsche. Well, actually he can't be, because that would be in front of him, but you know what I mean. He's right underneath the rear wing, the 77 and the 64 car. Then Harter Racing with Ross Gunn 5 seconds further back. He's got 5 seconds on Ollie Jarvis for Faf in the plaid McLaren number 9, and making up the top 7 in GTD Pro, Dirk Müller for Ford, and the number 65 guy is another 12 seconds further back. 25 years since Dirk Müller first raced here. Yep, that's right, and I was here, I remember it. In GTD, Roman De Angelis, Harter Racing has 12 seconds on Phil Ellis of Winwood Racing. He's got 5 seconds on Robbie Foley, so that's Aston Martin, Mercedes, BMW, 27, 57 and 96. Then just a second back to McLaren, the 4th different manufacturer in the top 4. Fred Schandorf doing a good job for Inception in the number 70 black and red car. And the top 6 made up by Mike Schaefer to cut off Preston 7 seconds further back, and another 28 seconds further back, Parker Thompson. And that's your VP Fuel update through the field. Meantime, side-by-side action in LMP2, Jeremy.
Absolutely right. That was Dillman putting a lap, or another lap, I think, on the number 88 car, was it? Yeah, I think it was. But look, right behind him now is the number 11 car, Scott Huffaker. Here he goes to the inside, and for some reason, the number 88 car doesn't let... That's number 88? It is, isn't it? That's bizarre. It doesn't let him go. And it's just been a dismal race for that team. But look at that, but the bright yellow is now chasing the duller yellow and green number 52 car, and there's less than a second between them. More traffic up at the top of the hill there. Ryan DL is the next car in line. He is just on the lead. No, he's one lap down as well as Ryan DL. So he's looking to go 2 laps down also.
Yeah, I said to you in the VP update that lead had come down. It was half a second at one stage. It went, it's just come back out to 1.2, but Scott Huffaker immediately he gets a clear track, Jeremy. He's able to get the hammer down in that TDS bright highlighter yellow car, and it's straight away back under a second again, and they've got to get by Ryan DL. Now he's already off the lead lap, so he should cede position at the end of the Mario Andretti straight.
Yeah,
well, people should going into turn number 8.
Pipo Durrani should have done that, but clearly didn't at Moss Corner there. 5A, he held up the leader quite substantially. And now we'll see whether Ryan DL allows Tom Dillman to go past. He's putting another lap on number 45, Dex Imaging Lamborghini, which once again holds up number 52 car at Turban. It's exactly what happens earlier on to give Huffaker an opportunity to go for the lead.
And nicely positioned by Tom Dillman. He claimed his piece of road, didn't move in response to that TDS car behind him. He sort of, I think, knew what was going to happen. That's the second time that the Danny Formal car, can't still be Danny in that car though, can it? Oh, it is, yeah. The Danny Formal has played a part in either an attempted overtake or an overtake. Now let's check in with Shea Adam for a CrowdStrike pit report with just now under 20 minutes to go. Shea Adam, what's the atmosphere like in the pit lane?
Pretty tense, still trying to figure out who's going to win this one at the end of it. Just a quick update from the Lexus team on the number 14. They are going to do a post-mortem on the car after the event. They don't know what it was yet, but early indications it's something within the power plant of the car, unfortunately.
Our Porsche keys to the race. Patience. Seen a bit of that, to be honest. There's not been too much rubbing its racing. Plenty of penalties, including for some of the front runners, although some of those have been largely negated by some safety car periods and the race being neutralised. Slightly less traffic. Has that still played its part? I think what's been interesting to me on that one, Jeremy, and I'll take your thoughts on this, is the relative performance between the LMP2s and the GT3s has not made it as easy as I thought it would do for the light, nimble aero LMP2s to get past the GT3 cars.
Yeah, you know, John, I think it's more a feature of this racetrack, because if you get stuck behind somebody going into turn 1, like we've seen twice now for the race leader coincidentally behind the same car, that costed a lot of ground. And if you're not able to make the move by turn 2, then you're probably going to have to follow it all the way around to after turn 3. So you can lose a lot of ground here, and that's where the traffic really does play a factor in this race. It's been a fascinating race, but as you say, Tom Dillman, he's had to work really, really hard here, a lot harder than he would have expected only 10 laps or so ago, and now we're within 20 minutes to the end of the race. But again, Ryan DL's not making it easy on him here.
He'll get past DL with the blue flags waving, but ahead of him he's got the battle for the top 3 in GTD Pro, top 4 in GTD Pro. Rockefeller in the red, white and blue Mustang as they exit turn number 6 and head on the Mario Andretti straight. Probably the best place he could have caught him, as off goes the 99 of Louis Delatraz, EO Racing, down at the bottom of the hill at turn 2, sideways for a moment. The leader just hitting that battle between Mike Rockefeller in the Multimatic Ford and the EO Racing Porsche, and the EO Racing Spike the Dragon is sideways down at the bottom of the hill, and that was traffic as well, and it was contact with the CrowdStrike number 04 car of Colin Brown. Yeah. Colin Brown coming round the outside, pick the bones out of that one. I would hate to have to do that. That was traffic induced though, Jeremy, and off at turn 9. That's the era car, I think, of Ryan DL that is in the wall. We did see somebody there earlier on. We had that covered for quite a while with yellow flags. It is indeed Ryan DL who was being lapped. Now Felipe Fraga and Scott Huffaker were in the near vicinity of that. Tom Dillman had passed him. Full course yellow has come out with 16 minutes to go. Full course yellow. Now, I'm seeing that called as a short yellow, but I don't think that'll be the case. Is it within 15 minutes of the end of the race? Not quite. Half an hour of the end of the race. So yes, it will be a short yellow. Of course it will. Thank you, Jeremy, who was talking to me in my ears there, in case you thought I was hearing voices in my head. Maybe I was. And once again, the ever-efficient track services here at CTMP are already there with some extra tyre bundles. We'll have Luigi along in just a moment's time, I'm sure, to help sort that out. The little orange Kubota, not the blue one from Cars. So what was going on? It was Ryan DL going around the outside of the EO racing car and got onto the dirt and basically just understeered off and almost followed off by Felipe Fraga in the Riley number 7, in the Scott Huffaker in the TDS racing car.
Yeah. John, I think the number 11 car also did run off the road there because he seems to have lost the position to Felipe Fraga, who was
correct.
Was about 4 seconds behind him. So absolutely, I think they got on the dirty part of the track there, both of those two, and it's cost them dearly.
Yeah. So that's a big shake-up at the front. The Riley number 74 back to second place, and of course will restart right behind Tom Dillman. An astounding run for that car.
But what happens to number 2 car as well? Because Ben Hanley's fallen. Fraga made up 2 positions there. I mean, Fraga was about 4 seconds behind number 2 car, who was a similar distance behind the number 11. So I'm not quite sure what would have happened to the number 74 car has made up 2 positions. One I can understand, but 2, did number 2 car run off the road there as well?
Ryan DL is back on the track, and I presume he will be heading pit lane. He has damage on the right front. Probably hear the reverse beeper in effect, Mike, of the track services truck. Ryan DL is going to need a new nose. Let's have a chat with Shea Adams, as we haven't heard from her for a little while. Let's take a CrowdStrike pick report, Shea.
It looks like it's going to be a bit of rhinoplasty for the Era Motorsports machine. The number 18 getting a new nose as they're pulling the old one off. They'll take their time because they've got the luxury of time with the safety car being out and the field being, well, on the other side of the track right now as they just start to come through. Let's see, this new nose, yep, very clean, no broken suspension bits, so that's good news. And Ryan should be able to rejoin the race. That's a lap loss, though.
Under 13 minutes to go. They were already 1 lap down. They now go 2 laps down, which promotes the Rashad Meal number 88 car, which has had a couple of incidents itself, although it was really the top 4 at least at one stage. It hasn't really had the pace today. Best of a 109.2. And the Era car. Now, Shea, you could probably see this. Is it waiting for the light or has it conked out?
Oh no, it's waiting for the light. Ryan Dial is a very smart man and a very savvy driver, been in this championship for a while. He just shut the car off while he was waiting for the rest of the field to go through, fires it up, and continues out the pit lane. Now, it is on a downward slant, so it actually helps engage you in gear. If you need to bump start it, CTMP is one of the best places to try and get that done.
Fair point, well made and very nicely presented, Ms. Adam. Thank you for that crowd strike pit lane report. So getting down to a dozen minutes now. And so a tricky little sprint to the end here, Jeremy, for Tom Dillman, with Felipe Fraga, Scott Huffaker, Ben Hanley, Philippe Albuquerque and Colin Brown and Renger van der Zande and Louis Delatraz. Now they're all on the lead lap, the top 7. Meantime, in GTD Pro, the 2 Corvettes now will have Lauren Heinrich right behind them and Mike Rockenfeller in the Ford. And just underlining again, there was not any contact between the prototype of Ryan DL and the number 77 Porsche. But as Jeremy rightly said, as the 18 era LMP2 went off, we also had an off from the number 11 of TDS.
Right. So what happened to Ben Hanley on that lap? That's the question.
Not a clue. He had a car in.
He's not in that picture.
He scored. He came through right at the end as the TDS car was rejoining. And he came through. Yeah, he came through behind Felipe Fraga, which is exactly where he is. And I presume that Scott Huffaker, with so much dirt on his tyres, by the time they got through turn 1 and 2, couldn't hold off Fraga. And maybe Ben Hanley was held up a little bit, I don't know, before we went yellow.
Yeah. I think, yeah, I don't know. And by the way, Pipo Derani, the reason he didn't make it easy for the race leader was that right as our scoring came back on again, he wasn't a lap down at that stage. He was just being lapped for the first time, not the second. So my mistake on that one. But still, he certainly wasn't. Even though he was completely out of contention, but he didn't make life easy for number 52. No harm, no foul. It made no difference to anything whatsoever. But the odd thing there is what happened to the number 2 car in that incident turn 8, because it was weird. I mean, number 8, as you say, no contact between the number 77 car, who was just holding his racing line, and there was plenty of room for Dale to go around the outside. But when he tried to go around the outside, there was no grip at all with the marbles on the road there.
Right.
And the same thing, exactly the same thing, happened to number 11 car of Scott Huffaker. But where was Ben Hanley in all of that? That's the question.
Well, Ben Hanley came through as Scott Huffaker was getting back on the track after going through the dirt. Ben Hanley was right in behind Felipe Fraga, and Fraga went through. We're going back to green, by the way. The pits have just reopened. Clearly, Fraga took the opportunity to go past Huffaker with dirty tyres. Maybe Ben Hanley didn't quite get it made. 3 wide across the line in GT World, down by the Conquest Ferrari, with MDK Motorsports, Porsche and Forte Racing, with Laura Spinelli having a cracking back. That was Anders Fjordbach, I think, in the Porsche, who just nipped 9th position there. As Brian Sellers has come back into the pit lane. It's been a long, hard day for Paul Miller Racing. He's just cycled through the pit lane to stay out of the way of the GTD battle, as the class split did happen even after a hard day. Brian Sellers and Paul Miller Racing staying classy. So, Dillman, Fraga, Huffaker, Hanley, Albuquerque, Colin Brown, and Renger van der Zande, and that change of position, Colin Brown and Renger van der Zande side by side for the longest of times going through turn 3 and right in behind the number 22 of Philippe Albuquerque. Almost going off the track at the top of the hill at Quebec corner. But they managed to hold on. Right in behind that, Louis Delatraz, right ahead of them, Ben Handley. Top 3. I was going to say starting to space out a little bit. They are. There's about a second. Ben Handley still in the hunt for a podium position though. So he's got his eyes on that bright yellow Scott Huffaker driven TDS Racing car with under 7 minutes to go now. GTD Hartner Racing still leading from Phil Ellis. And of course that gap's come down now because of the safety car. Fred Schandorf just another 2 seconds further back.
Yeah, he's just got past Robbie
Foley. Yeah, exactly. So that's a change. So Inception ghosting up as well. Don't forget, we need our BDO nose strategy nominations from Shea and Jeremy. As Tom Dillman resets the fastest lap of the race, and he has to because Felipe Fraga has just done that car's quickest lap of the race. 52 and 74, still duking it out. Even though they're not side by side, Jeremy, they're trading tenths and hundredths of seconds.
Yeah, tremendous. It's really heating up now, isn't it? And yeah, they've edged away just a little bit from Scott Huffaker, who's got his mirrors full of Ben Handley. Philip Albuquerque
caught off.
Ooh.
Caught off Scott off at turn 9, but gets back on. But I think there's damage to that car. That's the 32, the bright blue car. And is it? Yeah, it's back up to speed at turn 1. Sorry, Jeremy. Came out right in front of a gaggle of traffic, and I was somewhat worried where it might rejoin. Mike Skeen behind the wheel of that car. Unusual mistake for Mike to make. The 2 Corvettes are together at the front of GTD Pro now. They are allowed to race, and Nicky Katzberg's got a great run out of turn 3 at the top of the hill. Opportunity as he comes up perhaps to some lap traffic. It's the Turner BMW that's ahead of them. Not very often that we see that car's lap traffic, but it is 4th in GTD. The GTD's been put a lap down again. Here comes the bright green number 77 EO Racing car. Watching the 2 Corvettes. They've got to be savvy here, Jeremy, with 5 minutes to go. Any little mistake, these 2 fighting, could quite easily cost them a win and a second place, with Lauren Heinrich and Mike Rockenfeller right there to clean up any pieces of, any crumbs from the Corvette Pratt Miller table, if you will.
Yeah, absolutely right. That is very much a game on there, as it is at the front of the field with trading fastest lap. This last time around, Felipe Fraga sets the new best lap of the race, 108.820 to the 108.881 for Tom Dillman, and 109.1 for Scott Huffaker. So he's only lost a couple of tenths on that lap as well. On board with the 3rd place car in GTD Pro.
Another fastest lap for Tom Dillman. He has to keep the hammer down now. No worries about fuel with that yellow. I think they would have been okay anyway, but they're being told full rich, full fat to the end. Now, can he hold that 1.5 second lead? Felipe Fraga under pressure as well, with Scott Huffaker putting his fastest lap in last time around, as did Ben Handley, the top 4 in the LMP2 battle, fighting it all the way to the end. 3.5 minutes to go. GTD Pro, Corvette, Porsche, Mustang across the line down to turn 1. That little 4-car battle has got a gap between themselves and the rest of that field. Ross Gunn in 5th position is about 4 seconds further back. Not putting your house on any of the podium positions in any of the classes here, Jeremy, are you?
No, you're not. Absolutely right. It's boiled up nicely, hasn't it? Just inside 3 minutes to go, so just another couple of laps for the entire field, of course. Yeah, it won't be next time. Yeah. Might get 3 more laps in, actually.
Oh, joy. Joy unbounded.
Another great lap there for Tom Dillman, just fractions away from his previous best, which was the fastest lap. But even with that, the number 74 car able to close a little bit by dint of a really good lap. His best lap of the
Jeremy,
race.
think about your nomination for BT Unknown's strategy. Shea has pitched in with the 74 squad, the Riley machine, looking like a podium position there. Can be from either category. I'm gonna throw in Winward Racing again because I think they've done a cracking job, as have Inception actually in the GTD ranks. Jeremy, your thoughts?
Yeah, Inception for me in GTD. I mean, they've got themselves there. They didn't get that wave around earlier on, which dropped them from towards the front of the field right to the back, and they worked their way through. So they've obviously played their strategy nicely. For me, though, it's got to be the winning car into Europol. You know, they when they came in to make their driver change, they've called it perfectly to Tom Dillman to enable him to get to just within range of that final pit stop to make his last stop on lap 85, and that should be for them just about perfect. I think it's that strategy that's one that potentially can win them the race.
Yeah, and without the neutralisations from the safety car, they would have been up the road. Forget that. That's a fair point, Jeremy, on that. I mean, it's looking a lot closer than it would have done thanks to that strategy. And in fairness to Tom Dillman's driving as well, he has put the fastest lap in a couple of times. He's had to, mind you, because Felipe Fraga's been right there. Should be the white flag this time around. 2.5 miles to go. And there it is. Top two pulled out a bit of a lead to TDS. That third spot on the podium is not secure because Ben Hanley in the wins car is right with the TDS racing machine. Down to the bottom of the hill, already through that and climbing up round the outside of the Pfaff McLaren. That was brave by Tom Dillman, but he felt he had to make that move there. That might just give him enough room. There's still more traffic ahead of him. He does not want to see that. He does not like that at all. And it's quick traffic as well. Quick GTD traffic. He's past the remaining Lexus, sitting in 5th for Parker Thompson and Vassar Sullivan. Quiet day for both of the Lexus. They were expecting more, and we've lost one of them as well. Hey, they come through the final couple of corners. And it will be a win for Inter Europol. Brilliant strategy down the inside of the Aston at the final corner. Didn't really have to make that pass. And at the end, it is going to be somewhere close to half a second is all, but that's all it needed to be. Felipe Fraga goes through in second place for Riley. It's TDS in third, holding on by just 0.3 of a second. And Colin Brown, going very slowly, has dropped down. I think he may have run out of fuel. Shea Adam, let's have some reaction from our CrowdStrike pit lane reporter. See if we can get to Shea Adam down in the pit lane for some reaction from the winning team.
Gonna dive in with PR1 Matheson because they are race winners. Inter Europol's first win in this championship. PR1, well, they are very used to this because they've won championships many, many times over in this series. I'm gonna grab Bobby Origal really quickly. Bobby, congratulations on another race win. This one was hard fought, and overall, how does it feel?
Yeah, it's pretty awesome, really. I can't be more proud of the whole team, really. Nick did an outstanding job, and Tom backed it up and did another one. The crew, everybody here, I'm just so thankful to have these guys, you know.
It's been a while since your last win, but I'm sure it won't be from here on out.
Yeah, it was almost a year. Road America last year in August, so it does taste good right now, and we hope to keep it rolling.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Get back to Shea in a moment for more of the reaction. Let's wrap up the other classes. Corvette 3 from Corvette 4 from AO Racing on the podium in the 77 car in third position. And in GTD, Heart of Racing, Aston Martin from Windward in second place, the 57 Mercedes from Inception, the number 70 in third. See if we can get back to
with Alexander Sims,
Shea
race
Adam,
winner
who's
for
trying to pick
Corvette
off another
Racing.
class winner, I think.
And he's celebrating with everybody. Alexander, how good does this win taste?
Superb. You know, we've had some pace this year at times, but yeah, the car's been so good today and been able to execute a really nice race. Be able to generally manage things from the front, which is what you always want to do. So the Corvettes worked super well this weekend. Pratt Miller's done a great job. We nailed the strategy, you know, covered our bases when we needed to. And yeah, been a wonderful weekend.
With the 1-2, were you nervous at the end when we got back to that restart? Nicky was pushing Tonio pretty hard.
Yeah, you never know what Nicky's going to do. You know, he's a bit of a wild card, but no, I mean, he's a fantastic driver as well. You know, he's the best of the best, basically. So I'm sure he knew what he was doing in the car, and you know, I've got full confidence in Antonio as well. So they're the perfect guys to bring it home 1-2 for the team. We all know how important it is to get this result.
It's your second win here. Hopefully it's the second of many.
Thankful. Oh yeah, amazing to get 2 here, but yeah, I want more.
Pretty decent weekend for that team with a pole position and converting that into a win. Oh, and they got the trifecta, Jeremy, because they got the fastest lap as well. So that is pretty nigh on perfect for Pratt Miller.
Yeah, I would say so. Their new lap record also for, it was Alexander Sims who got the lap record in qualifying and in the race as well. So yeah, fabulous day for him. He clearly loves this track, doesn't he? Alexander Sims set the fastest lap last year in GTP. But what a great execution here by Inter-Europol, by PRO and Matheson Motorsports. They've done a super job all the way through this race. They called the strategy perfectly, and a great drive there by Tom Dubman. It really was a good first stint from Nick Bull. He was frustrated after qualifying because he was one of the guys that didn't quite get to where he wanted to be with those red flags. But he moved his way forward in the race, took advantage of a couple of miscues by others, and then pulled out a pretty substantial lead, and that's what won the race for that number 52 team.
Shea is trying to find Spencer Pumpelly from Heart of Racing team, the winners in GTD. And we'll just wait a moment to see if she can grab him in the scrum down on the pit lane. What a race. Jeremy, I'll let you do some quick arithmetic. So Shea's on her way to the podium at the moment. We'll get back to her in a sec. Ready for you whenever, Shea. Just open your mic and we'll put you to air. Right, Jeremy, what's the point situation?
Yeah, in LMP2, the Riley number 74 team held the lead coming into this weekend with the second place finish today. They were holding on to that unofficially 1,308 points, so 1308 to the 1296 of PR1 Matheson Motorsports into Europol by PR1 Matheson Motorsports. They will move up from third to second. Into third position, also moving up one position, United Sports USA, caliber 22 on 11.42. And I think TDS Racing with the third place finish today will move up to third on 11.25. So all very, very tight there in LMP2.
Let's go to Shea with Spencer Pumpelly.
The rumble of the Corvette just making its way into victory lane as I try and sneak through to get to the Heart of Racing crew, because we need a chat with Roman DeAngelis and Spencer Pumpelly, and I'm going to jump in with Roman first. Roman, I told you the other day the Aston Martin was a good car to have here. You proved me right today. How hard was it to fight for this victory?
Yeah, I think it made it harder because it's been so long since we've been in this position. We've had really bad luck in the last year. Our last win was think Lime Rock with Marco. We've had a lot of good runs, a lot of strong cars. Team's done amazing, but just a lot of things just haven't fallen into our hands. So I'm super happy for the heart of racing. Spencer did an amazing job. Our engineer Phil, the whole team. I don't know how the race is going on in WEC, but good luck to the guys in Brazil, and hopefully they can get a similar result. So.
Your second win at home. How good is it to win here?
Yeah, any good is win. Any win is good, but just to be here now in Canada, finally having a win after a year feels so good. So just really looking forward to tonight. So.
Congrats, my friend.
Thank you.
And now I just want to go over to Spencer because Spencer, it's been a minute. It's been since Petit Le Mans 2015.
What?
And now race win
Oh my
again in
gosh.
the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship.
man.
Winning in Canada, this works for you.
Yeah, actually, this is number 3 or 4 up here, and I just love this track. I love these fans. I love just coming up here and getting an opportunity to race here. These cars are so much fun around this track. It's wow. I'm just going to be reliving this for a long couple weeks coming up. But wow, yeah. How about Roman? How about this team? How about everybody here? Thanks to all the fans. Awesome job.
We'll see you at Road America.
Yeah, absolutely.
And just for the Heart of Racing team that are here at CTMP, we can let them know that the race is still continuing at Interlagos, and they are third position at the moment. So Jeremy, finish up with the points, and then we'll head to Michelin Post Race Tech.
Yeah, in GTD Pro, in the Teams Championship, AO Racing came in here with a fairly small lead over Vassar Sullivan's number 14, but of course they extend that with the problems for Vassar Sullivan and Ben Barnicott and Jack Hawksworth. So the Lauren Heinrich and Sebastian Prix will have unofficially 1,955 points. Up into second position will be Heart of Racing team. They finished only 5th today, but good enough to move them ahead of Vassar Sullivan. So 1857 for the Heart of Racing team, Aston Martin. That's Ross Gunn solo, because he had different co-drivers. And they will be just 22 points ahead of Vassar Sullivan, car number 14. In GTD, well, it's been almost a perfect season for Winwood Racing. 4 wins, a 2nd today and a 7th. They got 2,090 points. Well clear of Turner Motorsport, who will remain in 2nd position on 1,750. So almost a full race win's worth of points ahead. On 1,750, 3rd position will be Courthoff Preston Motorsports, moving up 1 position ahead of Conquest Racing. So number 32 ahead of number 34, 1,521 for Courthoff Preston.
Thank you, Jeremy. Thank you, Shay. We'll use the hashtag Michelin PRT and be back with you to discuss that race. Will have to be quite quick because we've got more racing to come. Aaron was our producer in Concord. Thanks to him and all the technical staff, both there and trackside. Rob Lomas was our man on the desk up in London. And of course the responsible adult, Eve Hewitt, as ever. Thank you very much indeed. Don't go too far away on RS2 exclusively. Next up, it's Michelin post-race test, and then we'll be back for some more racing in the shape of Whelen Mazda MX-5 Cup presented by Michelin. See you in a bit.